Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this grand final start. We are going to Night Time Lab's very first map number 1, best of 5, Team Valor against Team Secret. Which of those two teams will be crowned the Rainbow Six South Breach champion? It is yet to be decided, but at least map number 1 is on the way. And let's first take a glimpse on these operator bands.
Again, should be pretty straightforward. There we go. There's that Classico of Dokkaebi. Again, you want to remove that information and potential of hacking all the house cams from the side of the attackers. I think certainly in this instance, if you're Valor, you're starting on that defensive side, which statistically could favor you a bit more. The main thing for me is the fact that shields are left on the table here unless Secret are about to ban them out. There we go. There's that thermite for them. That's what they prefer to go with when it comes to this map. Again, this leaves the shields on the board. We saw yesterday how strong that Monty could be in specific players' hands. And again, for Secret, it was really about trying to force that objective. Granted, you know, the retakes were there, but for them, it's all about, on this map, forcing that objective, getting that plant down, and trying to play for that post-EP. The Fenrir coming out from Secret 2, a golden oldie at this point. Again, very, very powerful. Those dread mines are really disgusting, especially when you're going for that final collapse. Valor banning out the Solis just to remove the potential of, you know, information being gained around that entry point.
Very round bans, I would say. Very solid. Really plays into the meta. As you said, though, obviously we were expecting a little bit of more shield play today or even bans into that favor. At first glimpse, no bans, meaning we could potentially see either of those two teams, at least in the first place, Team Secret, bring them to the table. At least up front, they're not teasing us with that. Also, you don't necessarily have to bring in shields, right? It's not a map or a meta where you necessarily need to bring in shields. Sometimes it can just be tough to get an overview, to get your drones into the right perspectives, and also ultimately to get rid of those cross angles. If it's a team to be able to deal with this, we've seen Team Secret excel at this map already yesterday. I definitely would expect them to be bringing them to the table.
Jack's bringing the castle out with the shotty as well. It's going to allow some line of sight. It's also going to allow the cutoff of some line of sights and the potential funneling of an approach from above. Again, the difficulty with the tank assembly is that 9 times out of 10 you can get that wall open very, very quickly. I'm surprised we're not actually seeing, it sounds weird, but some glass action coming out from the get-go. We are seeing, however, that Jackal be bought, which we did see yesterday from Secret. They realized very quickly we need more information when we're approaching these sites on this map. Again, it can be quite difficult for us at times if we are losing drones very quickly, although granted, yes, the Solis is banned. So that's certainly going to be a benefit there. They just want to get as much information as possible. They want to get stuck in. They want to not dilly-dally about. We already see Groovy on the approach, looking to start to make some clearance, looking to start to clear this roam game.
Specifically looking at Intel, Valor actually also decided to bring the Valkyrie to the table. Hence, she hasn't been banned. It does make a lot of sense to make use of her, especially to get an idea. Even more insight for the defense can't really hurt. For the time being, we actually do see Team Secret being relatively quick in the map. Right now, they're struggling. They're actually dealing with clearing the second floor. They already have players in that first floor. Jackal really paying off their good stuff. Doom barely also able to get the opening frag into his homeland, but ultimately not able to land the shot. Nothing too crazy, nothing too big of a problem for the time being. It really helps for Team Secret getting control of the map, really trying to limit the opportunities for Valor. Ultimately, and this is something we really saw yesterday quite well, getting into a pinch position where you can try to force a player either out of a perspective of a position or have two players to deal with him once he does.
Extended reinforcements on the wall. Doom is going to open up a line of sight, but that could indicate the positioning there. Frenchie is going to be the opening kill for this map. Again, I would assume those goos might be out and about in various places. No contention for this refrag from the side of Valor just yet. Again, Secret making good time here. Making good time. Certainly getting into position to start to work with verticality now, especially given we got Doom there with that skeleton key in pocket. And again, we're probably going to see Savage make a little bit of a ruckus as well. Already getting a bit spicy here. This guys has to be careful not to get caught out. That's a difficulty sometimes with this map, how much verticality, how much pressure you can create from above, from below. Especially on this map, it's not like you can suddenly rotate downwards. You are at the very basement side. So, need to be careful. Mind your head, mind your toes. Still mind those doorways. Groovy on the approach now. Good start to funnel in aggressively. There we go. Nako will fall, looking for his second.
Located a bomb.
Hasn't found it just yet. Valor looking for the refrag though, waiting for that push to come further and further. Could see a little duo play here though. Jax gets one onto Groovy instead. So again, the trio crossfire that they were able to establish there, shutting down their entry point. And here comes Doom. Here comes that Hurricane. Gets shut down though by Rykos.
15 seconds left.
Really holding on to sight for dear life right now. Free versus free. Oscar gets downed as well. Timer is ticking. They need to get stuck in. Savage gets one to Rykos. The Skies gets the shotty kill onto Savage. Poor Kayak outside. What can he do? Nothing. Valor, round 1 on the table.
Really solid turnaround, we do have to say. Team able to pick off the opening frag, find a second one under their belt as well. But then when it came to getting inside, especially Doom really struggled. Obviously, this is really the big problem when it comes to Night Haven Labs, especially in the basement. So many crates, shelves, opportunities for the defense to play around, behind. You know, it is just a little bit of a problem. We did see Team Secret trying to drone into this, trying to get a drone in, trying to get in intel for themselves, but ultimately they really were struggling, especially also due to the fact that still there was mute jammers in place, which really made it tough for them. Ultimately, face checking didn't really work out for them, I would say. I still like the way that they were thinking about the outside wall not being an entrance point, but a safer way for Kayak to play around and assist the rest of his team. Unfortunately, as we saw, if the wall isn't open and he's the last one standing, he cannot really physically help too much.
I think that's the thing. He made the line of sight to be able to cover that rotation from, you know, tank into assembly. The issue was that initial pressure, that initial entry point being established was shut down by, you know, a very nice trio play coming through from Valor.
5 seconds remaining.
Moving swiftly on now. This is where things can get fun, because again, Groovy is still on that buck. And remember, yes, you can use that buck above, but certainly you can use that buck below. Groovy could start to work that skeleton key magic towards the footsies of Valor. And again, the more pressure that is coming from below you, the more you have to be mindful specifically about your movement. You can't stay static. The more you can be caught off guard as they open up walls, they open up these entryways. Already getting stuck in. Again, Kayak creating the pressure to come through. Nice and swiftly. Not really too much to hold it back. Just some mute jammers, which again, you've got the Mav. You're going to get through that very quickly indeed.
Again, though, we do see Valor relatively aggressively moving around the map, which is their way of holding control to most parts of it. We did see Savage already in the position to deal with a mirror window. It has been shattered, meaning you can't really look through it anymore. It's still obviously a position where you can peek behind from Sky's. Really good drone work, really good intel generation from the Valkyrie camp. Really good stuff. We do see Groovy, he's trying to sneak in. But your position has been given away. I'm not too sure. You still need to let the gunfight. Really well done from Skies there, helping out his teammate.
And once again, the crossfires are there, and that's a beautiful thing. They've got the mute jammers to deny that intel, so you have to face check. And at that point, you start having that gunfight, that call out comes through. The second player is always there to gather that line of sight and take that pick. Really good positioning from Valor. Secret, again, they do have a lot of kit in pockets. There we go. Doom is able to deal with Rykos. As once again, Legion removed from the board, but those goos will still be out. And again, loads of flashes in the pockets, to be honest, of Oscar and Kayak, should they wish to use them, to again give them a little bit of leeway, a little bit of breathing room if they do have to go for this face checking. It's something we've seen Secret struggle with. When they don't have the information, they have to go for face checks. It can really fall out of hand very quickly. A bit of a spray and pray from Savage, but it does down Jax. Doom gets tagged up just a little bit. Skies, beautiful shot there, holding patiently. Is going to take out Oscar. Kayak dealing with Skies before Frenchie trades it back onto Savage. Nako will fall to the hands of Kayak at 2k for the board, and there we have it. Doom and Secret to clean things up at the end. Looked very tricky for them, but they really held their own there. They just got stuck in, went for those gunfights, and ultimately won them.
And again, this is it, right? Valor trying to limit the options of Team Secret, which in theory, with the mute jammers, with the crossfires, is really tough, and it really demands those face check angles. It really demands the aggression to come around, which at first sight, they were able to deal with it, but ultimately, like you said, right, especially Team Secret, they felt still confident, just wide swinging in the doorway, just running in. This move a little bit too aggressively, but ultimately Team Secret was able to win their gunfights, which ultimately resulted in them winning the round. Good stuff. One one.
We kind of clocked it that they were going to have to start relying on that flash utility, and that's exactly what happened there as well. Which again, fair enough. There's no ADSs, there's no magnets. You know, you haven't brought the warden out to play. For Secret, they should clock that was a good way for them to kind of get around the annoying countering to their information gathering. Okay, we can just utility dump a little bit, and even if they are, again, hidden behind these server racks, even if they are hidden in every nook and cranny, at least if we flash them, it gives us a slight opportunity because they can't see us. It gives us a bit more time to quickly swivel around and see what we're looking at. The shield being brought out here, the Montaigne being brought to the board by Savage. We saw this yesterday. They really forced that objective by playing around that Monty. But again, Valor yesterday got to stay at home. They got to sit there with their crisps and their pop, and they got to see what Secret were bringing to a table on this map. So they should have... I really expected that this was going to happen at some point. Kayak, very tagged up though, has got the wall open. That's a good start for Secret to be able to at least get that entry point, that entry pressure in a very safe way indeed. Because look, even now, Groovy can just use that skeleton key. No fuss, no tears, and that pressure is applied.
Good stuff indeed, especially now we do see again Team Secret with the drone work. They still have, as you said, the Monty to come in as a living drone. Also right now giving away valuable information. There's still the barbed wire, and this really should also slow down from anyone who's following up. Actually, as I say that, Savage able to deal with it. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. And now it really comes down to how well can you play around the Monty. Obviously, Monty being relatively isolated. There's somebody sitting outside the door, which still is close enough if you want to help him. But other than that, there's opportunities, there's options from Valor, which they're able to potentially pick up in the next couple of seconds or minutes. For the time being, actually, they just let the Monty stand there, get the information. Jack's beautiful C4 takes down Groovy. Good opening frag there. And again, Sky's able to find Kayak. Raikos able to deal with Oscar. June retaliating onto Frenchie. A little bit of a kerfuffle going on. June ultimately finishing off Skies. Still slight lead from Valor. But Team Secret is definitely increasing the speed in this matchup.
Crazy shenanigans. Jax will take out Savage. Doom's now left in a 1 versus 3. That is precarious indeed. Throws out a smoke just to cover that line of sight, but it's too late. Raikos was aware and just contested that angle. There we go. Too much too late. Unfortunate business. For Valor, though, at least they have finally got that command server site under their belt. Again, for Secret, I'm curious to see if they keep bringing that Monty now, because it is something we saw yesterday. As soon as they were like, okay, the Montaigne is giving us a little bit of added pressure. Granted, this time round, they weren't able to actually get into the objective like they were yesterday. I'm wondering if they'll start cooking, if they'll start forcing that pressure. The Ram coming out is gorgeous. That's exactly what I like to see, especially now we're back downstairs.
Exactly, that's the point. Last time we were downstairs, they really struggled finding that first entrance into its side, especially due to the fact that Valor was still able to hold the crossfires, was able to play as a trio. And honestly, I really like that they're thinking about this in a way that, okay, we need to punish in a safe way the players playing as a team. How can we do that? Vertically certainly is a really good method to do so. And if there's one operator who screams vertical, it certainly is Ram. In addition, we're also seeing Buck, so they really are trying to make use of vertical pressure as much as they can. Though, we have to say they have to get the upflow control. Earlier, that wasn't a big deal, but I can imagine with Valor now, you know, picking up a little bit of speed for themselves as well, that this time around, this could be a little more of a struggle.
Let me say, they have brought the IQ out, which is going to give them an overview of the setup on site as well, which is interesting because, again, they've got that Bandit in conjunction with the Mew. Already, again, Kayak getting tagged up really significantly before getting the walls wide open. So he has to play very safely, very snugly now in order to be able to, again, that really nice external immediate pressure that you can apply downstairs, he needs to be able to do it. And once again, we've got these extensions on the reinforcements, so the secondaries really are coming up trumps for the side of Secret right now. Juma is able to get those walls open. He's able to establish some lines of sight and try and contest this roam presence.
I was about to say there's still a mute jammer which they have to deal with. They were able to do so, so now the wall is actually, as you mentioned, open, which is the first little success for Team Secret, which from that direction they can apply pressure from. They can send their drones in, they can send the util in. But I see they need more than that. And I'm really looking at the Rome gameplay right now. We do have a stack of Rykos as well as Frenchie. Nyko's still on the soft room, really just came up the stairs. With rotation there from Frenchie, they're trying to get into a better position.
Yeah, they're sticking together properly as a duo as well, which is really, really strong. Because again, think about the refrag potential there. If one of them does fall, see, one's been spotted out. Frenchie's going to take out Doom, though. That could have been very, very risky indeed. And Groovy is looking for that refrag, does take out Frenchie, but is he aware of that secondary player, Rykos, lurking in the shadows? Jax is taken out by Groovy. Rightfully so. I do think Valor right now should fall back to site, start to batten down those hatches. They're now at the player disadvantage. Secret, again, loads of util they can use here to try and go for this collapse. Fast, furious, and punchy. Certainly it will be scrappy. Skies very patiently waiting around this stairs area. Again, I assume maybe they fall back a little bit, be a bit safety first. Just a spray and pray could lure Secret into a bit of a slow approach here if they want to. C4 is going to miss. And again, Savage on the approach. Is Skies aware? Is Skies prepared? Because Savage certainly is going to be. He's going to be waiting to get that tiniest bit of pixel. Again, think about it right now. Skies is delaying that push so much because they have to get that information. They have to know exactly what they're going into here. The Skies could really, really be doing a good job here at just making sure that pressure is maintained. Well, certainly so. Savage and Groovy both falling down. My. Finally, the trade comes through from Oscar. A 2 versus 2 with 10 seconds, though. Yet again, Secret just running out of time. Oscar will fall, and Kayak, yet again, is stuck outside. There was indeed a party, but Kayak was not invited yet again. Someone bring this man an invitation next time.
I'm really hoping that they find other or more creative approaches to that, because it really seems that once they're trying to get stuck inside, not only do they struggle with finding the intel, but also dealing with a certain player, specifically looking at Skies or the onside hold.
But this is it, because Skies still had a slight extension there as well. And when you're holding a pressure point like that for so long, and you're, even from the get-go, he was doing a little silly spray around the corner, just saying, hey guys, I'm here. And it's almost like you're letting the attackers know, you have to come find me. It's like kind of like very children, like, nah, you can't find me. Like the Skies then getting that 2K. Granted, yes, it was shut down by Oscar. At that time, the amount of time that Secret have wasted trying to deal with the fact that Skies is lurking around some corner, question mark. It's really, really good stuff, and it's something that Valor have done well before. Again, this is a rematch. It's something that happened last time. Secret really struggles sometimes when they don't have that information at actually taking that little initiative and drive to just get stuck in. Granted, we do see it from players like Oscar, who will suddenly just feel it's like they've had enough and they're just like, fine, I'll just go for it. I'll just face check and get my ones. But Secret, they would rather play a bit safely, a bit more securely, a bit more proper good old-fashioned siege. So there is the aspect of not really wanting to face check and actually get that information. Time is the sixth defender, as we often say. And unfortunately, again, it's this idea of these breaches that on that basement site, that external wall is not getting opened enough. It's not getting the full entry point in, and it's creating some awkward moments in the last second. Skies potentially trying to get a bit cheeky there and is punished for it by Savage.
Really good start here for Team Secret, especially looking at the last couple of rounds. Skies certainly had a big impact when it came to the outcome. Really good start. Team Valor, again, it's the aggression which is starting to be more visible, more transparent. Has been shut down at first glimpse. There's still a lot of roamers in the map, which you still need to be very careful on the side of Team Secret about all of that. But for the time being, again, Rykos! Good stuff! And Kayak, again, not only not invited, this time disinvited, if you can say it that way. Also, Savage able to find a deal with him. Again, aggression and counter-aggression. This is what we're currently looking at.
Yeah, he wasn't aware that Savage was also there as well, and Savage was able to go for the refrag, so really good stuff there from the side of Secret. Frenchie getting clapped down by Savage, another one for Savage. That's 3 for the round so far. Savage potentially could start to make spicier things occur if it's off the fact that Doom is now applying pressure directly towards the players of Valor. they're going to have to go for a cheeky reposition, because rightfully so. You know, want to make sure, okay, we need to stick around these duos, and Ico could get caught off guard here. Sprays a bit too early. That could give the information to Groovy if they're a little bit more proactive, but instead it's given the info to Doom. And that is how you react to information. Goodness gracious me. Very, very nice on the side of Secret, playing for the trades, playing off that intel. Good stuff indeed.
I was about to say, especially the fact that they really tried to play this time around as a team, play and stick together. Obviously, the opening frag, Skies on the table, certainly enabled them quite significantly. But other than that, again, it's about having control over not only what your opponent does, but also what you do. Trying to stick together as a team, trying to go for the refrag, and try to not give more opportunities to the rest of your team. This time around, it looked like much more confident, much more, on the first side, much more planned as an approach than just like, guys, we're struggling, what do? We just run in, right? They had a clear plan, they executed the plan, and even though the Monty didn't really shine as it was intended to, the rest of the team, as they were playing as a team, were making up for that and ultimately winning the round just based on that. Honestly, I need to see this, or expect to see this much more from Team Secret. They need to play, stick together, not isolate themselves too easily and too much,
5 seconds left.
Which obviously Valor is trying to do as much as they can. They're trying to roam as a stag with 2-3 people, so they are trying to make it harder for Team Secret to group, which again, it's the last defense, the last opportunity for Team Secret to collect a point. 3-3 certainly would benefit them quite much already. On the flip side, Valor already showing off as well what they had prepared for today.
Turbo finally being brought to the board, which is a curious one for me, because again, Secret have struggled getting these walls open anyway. This starts to feel a little bit like overkill to me. At least it does delay that initial pressure that they were able to gain last time.
Gotta reload.
So much kit to work with, and again, we saw how powerful those Valve camps, those Black Eyes were last time when it came to gaining the information on Secret's approach. Are they aware of June below here? Those breaching rounds start to blow up the floorboards. That certainly might be a little bit of a surprise. There is no full extension on that roam game from Valor just yet. Just yet. Could be a cheeky reposition. For now, it looks like they do want to stay a little bit safer, a little bit snugly, a little bit close to sight. Savage waiting to get stuck in, just waiting for some information to make this approach. And again, safety first aspect for good old classic Siege fundamentals. Seem to be pretty on it right now from the side of Secret.
Again, they have to face check into this. The mute jammers are limiting the options, are limiting it. Oh, really creative though! It's Jack's able to get one and then burning away, fading away. For the time being, also Team Secret is able to shut down the wall momentarily. A little bit of impact tricking here, potentially getting rid of those Selmas, which have been applied on the outside, which exactly is the case, which again slows down the approach from Team Secret. You have to find, again, a more creative way, a more out-of-the-box thinking way to deal with the setup of Valor.
Could go for reposition and try and use that final Selma, but I think there's going to be a bit of shenanigans. There you go, final nade is out. I think it might have been a bit premature there. Cat could try and get the wall open. Once again, June looking for this pressure from below. Floorboards ripped apart, putting the pressure on Frenchie certainly. Looks like that was an attempt at a 3-2-1. The flashes are coming out. This could be interesting because that might result in a full blind. Sky's a beautiful C4 there. Ruby taken off the map. Kayak needs to go for a swing. Gets taken out by Skies though. Sky's now down. Can they pick him up? Jum gets one down to Frenchie. Could potentially take out Nako as well. Starting to get a little bit scrappy. Poor Nako getting double pressure from both players here. Oscar significantly tagged up, but does get that pick. And Rykos, he can just hide. He can just stay behind these walls. You don't want to be too dangerous. There we go. They did not have the diffuser. The plant was not stuck. Just by the timer, Valor are able to get that final round of their defense on the table. A nice split for them, a 4-2. The question on my lips, of course, is the fact that this is, in my opinion, slightly weighted more towards the defenders at times. I will say that the shield operators on this map do certainly make things a lot smoother on the approach, but how much am I expecting that from Valor? The main thing also here is that we already see them hinting around that Bravo and that Twitch, right? And that could be stonkingly massive.
As you said, right? Especially for the defense, one big factor is the size of the map, the roamability, the potential to play as a stack wherever you want and hold it down as long as you can. Specifically looking at 3 of the rounds which went in favor of Valor due to the fact of time. Again, it shows the capability, the opportunity for the defensive side for the defense overall, which again I'm expecting from Team Secret as well. And looking at it, we do have not only Intel meta, but also Trap meta, which exactly screams, okay, you guys, you need to drone more, you need to be careful, you need to be slow, otherwise you run into a trap and you're gone.
What says droning more? Like, again, the Twitch and Bravo combo, they have stuck to that. So again, we're going to see those clutch drones potentially very, very quickly and smoothly, not only gain those house cams, but potentially deal with some of those EDDs as well. The Twitch drones, of course, will also be an added benefit in removing that in util as well. Especially from a safe distance, and again, it's a very, very long distance. The range on those Twitch drones are significant. For Valor, when it comes to the approaches on attack, they can be aggressive. They can be bolshy. They can certainly get stuck in, no dilly-dallying. They always seem to have a plan, a very clean-cut step-by-step. And they move through it very, very, very quickly. And we're already starting to see that. Again, look already, Sky's taking these cams. They're starting to get these initial pressure points into the building. A nice pronged approach too. Could potentially spell a little bit of shady business if they do get isolated when they're trying to go for this roam clearance. Kayak on the approach gets taken out by Sky's opening kill, going in the favor of Valor.
And this was again a little bit of Team Secret thinking too short, as obviously he was spotted. He did get 2 drones as a result of that as well, but really good use of Inter from Valor, really trying to capitalize on the player. There's still Savage as well as Doom out in the wilds, luring, waiting for the rest of the bunch from Valor to come around the corner. For the time being, they're not pressured that much, but there's obviously more than enough time. Sky's brought to the floor. Groovy able to take down Frenchie. Doom able to take down Sky's. Really good job there dealing with the aggressive playstyle of Valor. But you're currently still dealing and trying to get control of the upstairs hold. Groovy again shining, ultimately falling to Raikos. It's actually Doom who fell. Naiko falling to Savage. It's again that roam gameplay, which really seems to be a problem for Valor. And they're really getting punished for that. Good stuff there from Savage ultimately as well. Team Secret winning the first defense.
Once again, being able to play off each other's information very well. And ultimately, Valor actually being able to win out those gunfights was a significant one. There are instances where you've got this line of sight, and it's technically a 2v1, and they're still coming out on top. So really good stuff there. Trades weren't there for the side of Valor. Again, a big part of that could be that in some instances, granted, you know, there was that duo push towards the end. But for the most part, again, that separation approach that I discussed, and oh, is this going to kind of bite them a little bit? It certainly did, to be honest. It certainly did.
And this is the big question I have. Did Team Valor not know that aggressive hold was set into place from Team Secret? Or did they just think, guys, we're so confident when it comes to gunfights, we can, at least in the first round, we can at least try to win off gunfights only. Because if they have gone for that second option, I really think they've bitten themselves when it comes to that. But if they struggle to find the intel, heads up to Team Valor, heads up to Team Secret, really made them work for the intel and ultimately punished them for, you know, collecting insights.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Sticking to the clutch drones, sticking to the Twitch drones. Valor, they feel they've got the right utility for these approaches on this map. Now, I would assume we might see them split off into a 2x2 at some point. Looks like that might be the case. Main thing when approaching this site is, again, you can get this external pressure so quickly, but you've still got these very awkward corners to get through. You can take that split room. It can get very awkward to approach. Again, tight angles with loads of util stacked around them. And Oscar on that Warden as well. Saw Secret themselves be able to contest this site by bringing flashes and dealing with those angles by just removing the eyesight of the defenders. But Oscar has that Warden, which is something that I do feel Valor themselves should have brought out when it came to this site. But Staying in the hands of Oscar, it's going to be a spicy one. Ooh, Frenchie has been able to get this wall open now. And again, the pressure being applied, but Secret, they know they've got the util. They know they've got the kit to be able to just stay on site and just have a chill.
Reloading. Cover me.
Exterior Effector certainly already a first entrance point for Valor, but as you said, Secret still holding down to the rest of the map, at least the majority. Valor is trying to get more of that into their own hands. Yes, you do see that from Nyko right now. Ash, generally speaking, has a really good kit to deal with those Kiba bursts, though the breaching round already had been used up, meaning now you have to go for the knifing action. Really good use of the impact there, dealing a lot of damage to Nyko. Nyko really has to decide, okay, do I still want to go down that route, or do I reconsider going either a different way, or do I call for help? But now it seems like they are calling for help. They're getting the drones back out, which is really, really good. They need to get that insight again into their own hand. Really need to have a good understanding what to expect, and also ultimately find a way into the site. Really find out about a plan which they want to confess to.
Loads of C4s in the hand of Secret, which could be detrimental if Valor do not get a jog on now. 35 seconds nearly. No blood being spilled on either side. As I say it, Savage and Doom come through, rewarding themselves with their patience.
15 seconds to go.
There we have it. Secret, the swift cleanup. The timer was beginning to run out. Valor they just did not have the kit to deal with anything really, in my opinion, there, because again, Secret, they had so much that they could have used there if stuff was thrown towards them. But again, Valor are going very, very safety first with their approach. They're taking the Twitch, they're taking the Brava, they're taking 2 lots of hard breach and then an Ash. And it's like, okay, this is very bread and butter. But maybe you start mixing it up just a little bit more. We start to bring out maybe some pocket strats. But I think that's the thing with Valor, right? They don't really... They're not a very pocket strat heavy team. They pick an approach that they like and that they're comfortable with. But like, okay, let's go for some, utility clearance. Let's get some ways to kind of prevent a bit of information as well. And then we'll go for some hard breach and some soft breach. Very classic. Not really going to work well when you're going against so much util on the side of Secret. And even now, they're bringing out that Maestro. We've got the Alder, we've got those evil eyes as well. Technically, though, the Brava could be a threat to that, Silver.
Absolutely. And again, it really comes down to how Valor this time around is able to play into the onside hold. We do again see Team Secret applying a lot of util in the upper floor, getting rotates ready for them. Expecting, or making us expect again, that we are going indeed to see a really heavy roam gameplay, trying to bait Valor to get into this and then struggle to deal with all these angles with all that utility applied upstairs. As you said, though, I'm really looking forward to see how Valor decides to play into this. It really seems like, at first glimpse, that they are again sticking to the plan of getting the upflow control first. Again, then second, we do have Ram in play. Then bring in the verticality. Really good stuff there that we do have Frenchie on the Maverick once again. Really good and easy way to deal with applied, for example, mute jammers, which exactly is the case what we just saw from Team Secret. I'm really hoping and looking forward to seeing potentially as well that Team Valor has a better, a little bit more creative way than to get the control of the map. Because as we are seeing it from the top-down perspective, Team Secret has a really wide control over the upstairs hold. You really need to have those T-plays, those crossfires, those refrag moments perfectly in sync. Otherwise, you're really going to struggle.
Valor are spending a lot of time getting information. They're really droning out every single nook and cranny and working out what they're going against here. Buggy is going to come through, start to work some vertical pressure as well. Skies pulls back. Could potentially be waiting for someone to try and shoot the Buggy out, actually. This could be a bit of the old bait and switch. No one is falling for it, though. They're aware that long line of sight can be held, and they don't want to contest against it. Against Secret, playing very safely, very securely, very snugly all around their utility, around their very, very safe setups that they have. Once again, so much information that they can gain here. Really the main threat only being those Clutch drones. Actually, the Clutch drones aren't even here now. It's just around the Twitch. Never mind. There we go. This is potentially risky now from the side of Valor, but actually they have snuck into sight. They do have slight pressure. Where's that come from? Diffuser is going to go down, and there we go. It's a post-DP. Slight oversight on the side of Secret. Again, looked like they had all the power, all the control there, but it's falling out of their hands very, very quickly. Skies is playing patiently here. It gets taken out, though, by Savage. Starting to get a bit scrappy. Kayak trying to go for the spray and pray. Jax will deal with him, but the C4 comes through with that spray. 2 versus 3. Doom can try and stick it, but he is very concerned. There might be a little bit of an angle held against him. And again, this is going to give the chance for Valor to reposition. I think Doom is aware of that, wants to try and deal with some more of these players. They know exactly where he is now, though. We even saw the rotation, maybe. Okay, one of you quickly get outside window now, just in case he tries to stick that diffuser. Unfortunately, you know, yes, Valor won that round, but that was really scrappy. That was really uncomfortable. They snuck in, got the diffuser. Some of the positioning could have been slightly better, but they are edging forward now. Secret, they had equalized. Valor getting the advantage here just by seeing a gap in the defenses and worming their way through.
This is it, right? This is really, really, really good starting point for Valor. Not only did they have the really good drone work in place, but also really good understanding of what Team Secret was applying to the map or how they were playing the map. Specifically speaking, Team Secret had no idea. And even at the moment when they've gotten the idea, okay, hey guys, I just heard somebody starting the plant. We should get back to side. We have that heavy run gameplay. Maybe we need to focus on side more. The entire stack of flashes has been thrown out at Team Secret. So great usage of util. Obviously, if you had a warden, everything could be upside down. But so far, a really interesting but creative approach from Valor. You can't replicate that again. So now you have to also think of other creative ways to deal with the setup of Team Secret. But a really big breaking point for me right now is Team Valor struggled finding out about Team Secret's playstyle. Really struggled to get the insight, to get the overview. The last round was completely different. They had the idea and they said, okay, they applied a very heavy roam gameplay. We focus side, plant, easy peasy. And obviously, at first that sounds easy, but it's so complicated. A little bit of a miss C4 there.
I'll say so, potentially working off the audio there, thinking that someone was getting up close and personal to that castle barricade and going for that C4, just in case you can land yourself a safe little freebie. Unfortunately, that is a C4 wasted from the pocket of Savage. The global utility coming out from the side of Valor as well is very spicy indeed. Looks like they want to get Secret looking a little bit more static here. They want to pinpoint them into those spots. And again, maybe Skies could use a nade. Has already used one. The combination of globals with a little bit of nade action could be quite delicious as time goes on. Again, they have got the IQ out. Rakos, gorgeous stuff there. Doom will fall down. Again, that is another C4 wasted off the table. Removed from the hands of Secret. And that verticality might start to trickle through from the side of Valor. It looks like they've really started to warm up now. Looks like they want to get freaky. Looks like they want to get frisky. It looks like they want to really take the pressure of these fights to Secret now. I think Secret are fully aware of it. Gorgeous stuff there. Beautiful shot. Nako is going to take out Groovy. 3 versus 5. Again, Oscar, I've seen him do spectacular things, but he really has to be careful here because Valor, they're looking to get a little bit aggro here.
And they should be. We do hear the E1D. Again, it's the first indicator to expect aggressiveness, though Raikus actually not able yet to land the shot onto his opponent there. So trying to deal with it. The double push comes around. Nako able to deal with both of them. Really good stuff. And now Kayak 1v4. Last man standing to prevent Valor from proceeding on to match point. Will he be able to pull this off? He's certainly trying to work the verticality which has been applied from Valor themselves. Now the E1D, they're trying to get free intel.
A benefit could be that the timer is ticking, and it looks like Valor have some solo pushes coming on. So again, if Kite can try and isolate these gunfights, well, maybe not. Jax is going to get that final pick. Once again, an unfortunate situation there for Kayak to be left in. But as you've put perfectly, you know, this is match point now. Spicy stuff indeed. Secret's map pick, and Valor once again getting them on the ropes a little bit here. Just a little bit, I will add. There have been some, again, the read those opening rounds for Secret, absolutely mwah, chef's kiss. And again, really, oh, there we go. I was going to say, we haven't really seen a timeout. Oh, there we go. Secret have called the timeout finally. They're like, oh, that match point timeout. Very, very uncomfortable, but we want to be sure to have a safety net here. We want to be able to get that timeout conversion. Again, I really think the main thing there is that's quite interesting for me, right? Because Valor, in my opinion, have been very, very patient. And I think there's an element of them maybe having a bit too much respect there for the side of Secret. And now they've kind of gone for the jugular a little bit. They've gone for the jugular. They started to up the ante. They started to play into that, again, very initiative and forward-thinking and focused and heavy-hitting approach that we've seen from them previously. I'm wondering if we are going to see that clap back from Secret now, though, too, because, again, we've seen it. They get under pressure, and they start to get a little bit more aggro with it.
Precisely so. At least we do see a little bit of a change here in the defensive operator picks from Team Secret. You see one great utility piece, which is the Vulcan Shields from Goyo, in order to deal with that aggressive power, which we at least saw in the last round from Valor. I'm really hoping that this is a really good measurement in place to, like I said, right? Valor seemed to pick up a little bit more of an aggressive playstyle. I'm really hoping that this could be a good opportunity for Team Secret to make use of that. On the flip side, we do see the Ying.
Oh, very exciting stuff there. The Ying in conjunction with those EMPs, Silver. This is spicy. However, of course, how much use will they have out of those EMPs? The setup from Secret, mostly revolving around, okay, bit of execute denial here. We've got the smokes, we've got the Vulcans on that Goyo. And a lot of information, and there's Black Mirrors, of course. This is very much designed around the idea of, okay, so much kit here for us to delay that final collapse. We've clocked it here. We've clocked Valor. They're coming to these final seconds where they're really then going for that X2. Granted, it's punchy, granted, it's aggressive, but they are slow on the uptake with these collapses. Secret is falling back now and going, do you know what? We don't have to take the fight to them. We can just burn out the timer and we work this intel. However, what's going to stop those Candelas from coming through? No ADSs, no magnets, no Warden coming through either from the side of Secret. So Skies needs to stay alive here and work that Candela magic.
Again, chaos is the recipe which Team Valor has identified for this round. But Team Secret have brought more vision, more of an understanding to the table, which potentially could deny that, especially if they're able to get a couple of early tricks here. First seeing Candela goes out, nothing really to follow right after. Just trying to bait a little bit of movement, a little bit of a reaction there. But again, for Team Secret, not too surprising. They stay in position, they don't panic. And Doom is trying to get into position. This C4 could be huge, so it doesn't really land too well. Only getting a little bit of damage. Kayak, though, also lit up a fair bit. And again, the drone work punished there from Valor as they're trying to get that insight, which is really, really important for them to have a good understanding. And Kayak seems to be stuck in the corner. A red ping is there as well, but there's a second where Ying Candela should work the magic. Another one going just to be sent out. Pre-fire there from Savage. Really good stuff, Skies, off the board. And right now, that first push should be denied. Oscar able to fight Neko. Oscar, again, damage dealt to him, able to deal with Frenchie. Rekos also off the board. It's only Jax, last man standing. Finds one, but it won't be enough. Team Secret denied that first match point. We do see the potential to go to overtime now.
Again, the fact that you've got all of this kit, but they have all this collapse denial. And then there's a slight whiffage of a Candela, blinding Rekos. That duo push was completely denied because of their own utility on the side of Valor. That is really unfortunate and really uncomfortable. The Candelas come through. The Ying ability, you know, yes, you can see through that flash, but your teammates can't. And that really instantly shut down that execute, that collapse. Then we saw the Vulcans getting popped. Good stuff from Secret. Can they hold on just a little bit longer? Can they bring us to that overtime? We are going back downstairs now. Tank assembly, again, we've seen them struggle with it though. The main thing here is that Secret, again, do they want to keep playing around this prevention of that collapse? It looks like that is the case here. They've got the Vulcans. They're actually bringing the magnets to the table here too. I think they're like, well, if they're going to start playing silly Candela action, let's just try and bring something to deal with that just a little bit. And sticking with those keepers. And again, of course, yes, of course, the castle coming through.
And you really have to say that, obviously, the magnets aren't going to deny the Incadelas. They're just going to relocate them. But especially when it comes to timing, especially when it comes to the surprise factor of the Incadelas, due to the fact that you hear them being relocated to the magnet and everything, it gives you a little bit more of a breathing space for you to react to the situation, to react to the engagement as well. Ultimately also to slow down the attack. Speaking about things being slowed down, definitely it's not the drone work, as Valor is certainly able to get really good insight. Nyko able to get the opening for onto Savage. This could be huge. No more Kiba barriers, especially also Savage, one of the main fraggers when it comes to Team Secret, dealt with.
Especially also given how, you know, Valor's entry conversion can be pretty spicy. I believe you did have the percentage for that.
70% entry frags, and out of all rounds won, 50%, meaning, yeah, a lot of entries converted. Frenchie able to pick off Kayak. Really solid lead. Everything is starting to pile up on the side of Valor, seeming to everything fall in their favor. But they're not there yet. Still 3 fraggers, 3 gunners, 3 beasts on the side of Team Circuit to pull this to overtime. They just have to stick together. They just have to play as a team. Speaking about playing together, it seems like Doom is isolated on top.
Yeah, which could be a blessing or a curse, depending on the positioning of Valor. Valor kind of stacked up on one another again, and Doom gets caught off guard with no trade. That can be a little bit unfortunate. Oscar looking for toesies, looking for footsies. He's going to try and stay out of the way of the buggy. Again, all this vertical pressure now being applied. Doom could just go for a shot here. Not going for it just yet. Sees the feet, sees the legs. Isn't trying to take it, though. Maybe not wanting to give his position away. He's going to try and drop down potentially now. Is he aware of the players around the corner? Goes for a bit of a spray and pray. Reload. Is able to get away scot-free. That was a little bit unfortunate for Skies. Quiet for the Storms. They're looking once again for the heads, and the side of Valor, they want an additional entry point in, so they're going to work their magic along this wall. Oscar on the lurk. Does pop one of these Vulcans just to give a little bit of an entryway, because once again, Valor leaving things to the very last minute. Starting to sell up, trying to go for that collapse. Oscar gets clapped down as Rykos will fall to the hands of Doom. Doom on a little bit of a tear now. 2 versus 2, and Valor, they need to stick this diffuser, they need to stick this plant.
15 seconds.
There we go. Groovy on the approach. Nako, pistol in hand. Could go for a bit of a pistol whip here. A little bit unfortunate, but that's not the best of gunfights to have to take. Doom on a quad now. Can he get the ace? Jack's holding on for this. Post CP. Groovy will deny the ace and go for that defuse. We are going to overtime, and Doom certainly looks happy about that.
Diffuser disabled by defenders.
And I mean, rightfully so. He waited very, very patiently up above to get into the position to land the first headshot, and from then on to snowball to the result of that round. Again, Valor provingly not able to get control back into their own hands, especially once they recognize, okay, there's Doom up above. How are we going to deal with him? The answer was, okay, we go for a plan, which is really good. It is a really good approach, but ultimately Doom able to come back to the site, and then the teamwork made the dream work.
But I think it was less teamwork and more just like the plant cover being a bit janky. Like, you're covering the plant with a pistol, and you're moving a lot. You're giving that audio cue, and again, that pinch can come in so swiftly, so crisply. Little bit of a janky one there for Valor. Again, respect the fact that they were trying to commit to that objective, right? And it's something that we keep seeing on Nighthaven with a lot of the teams that have played the Nighthaven throughout this tournament. It's this constant, okay, let's just try and really force this objective, sneak in, get it down. But it always spirals out of control very quickly because you need to have the cover there. You need to have that position. It needs to be a strong position too. No pistol whip shenanigans. Of course, you know, if that would have worked out, I'm sure we would all be singing his praises. But again, difficult when you're jiggling around and giving that audio cue.
All Vulcans are prepped and ready.
Getting stuck in with this overtime now. Valor starting on the attack. Which again, they have had decent success with these attacks. It's been very kind of back and forth a little bit. Oscar waiting very patiently. Are Valor doing a Valor special where they try and get stuck in from the get-go? SMG-11 to the face. Guys will fall down. The shotgun is attempted. And Jax will go for that immediate trade. Getting stuck in, getting aggressive, getting bulky now. This is a Valor that we know and love.
Nyko able to take down Joom. Again, following up to that aggression, really living up to the expectation here as well. 2 frags for 1. Good start, but again now a little bit of a slowdown has to happen. They have to get, again, an understanding where those last 3 defenders are hiding. Especially Groovy with the Warden, who could potentially get out of a position where there's somebody trying to flash him. Valor has to decide which way they want to go down. And this round, again, it's really, really going to be interesting to see which of those 2 teams will be the one to take, again, the match point into their own hand, or even to take the match point into their own hand for the first time in this matchup, as Team Secret could do. At least right now, it looks a little bit more favorable for Valor.
Valor definitely using the fact that they have this player advantage to give themselves a little bit more breathing space, a little bit more time, a little bit more carefulness at checking every corner, every nook and cranny. You know, get the wall open, fall back to safety, hold it for a little bit, get some intel. That's exactly the approach they're taking here. Again, for Secret, it's really a case of just repositioning and making sure that you are reacting to the sounds, reacting to the information, reacting to those visuals of where these pushes are coming from. Of course, the Keeper is certainly going to be causing a little bit of chaos here for Nako. So that entry point has been fully plugged up. So again, if Valor are looking to get a little bit aggro here, Secret are ready and waiting. Still got Vulcans on the board. Savage actually had one in pocket and has only just placed one down as well. So that is quite interesting because, again, they have worked out, okay, this is roughly where this approach is going to come from. Let's plunk that down. Let's have that as a bit of cover here. Ooh, Kayak taking out Nako on that approach, on that immediate attempt at the collapse. Frenchie's going to go down too. Scrooby will fall to the hands of Rykos. So 2 versus 2. Certainly starting to get scrappy between these 2.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Once again, the main thing here is if they do sneak in and stick that plant, the cover needs to be strong, the cover needs to be there. 20 seconds and they're still trying to gain some information. They want to be safety first at this.
Seconds to go.
Savage giving his position away slightly with a bit of a spray and pray. And Valor, they need to get stuck in, they need to go for it. They can't be dilly-dallying any longer. There we go, the cover is there. There's 1, there's 2, and Valor, first round, very good stuff. Finally having the strong cover for that plant to go down. Sailing away with this first round of overtime. And that might be a little bit uncomfortable for Secret. Remember, Valor's defensive half, it was a 4-2 split for Secret. Secret really struggling on these approaches. So they have to be mindful here. They have to work out what kit to bring to deal with the side of Valor. And again, I think maybe we might suddenly get stuck.
Especially due to the fact that Team Secret played Command and the server 2 times. Actually, that was the 3rd time. Team Valor was able to break the curse. It's the first time they won it on attack this time round. And this now brings him into the very, very favorable position of sitting on match point on defense, which really, really could work the magic, as we did see both teams certainly performed better on defense than on attack, which, you know, looking at the map isn't something too surprising. But, as you said, we do see Ying, we do see Finka being teased there as well, which again is giving a little bit of aggressive vibes, and as I say that, they actually do switch away, which does make a lot of sense. Verticality seems to be the main target there again for Team Secret.
5 seconds left.
Vertical pressure certainly has worked out for them before. On both sides, to be honest, as well. You know, we've seen some really cheeky plays from them when it comes to that Verti. Good stuff indeed. And again for Valor, they've done a really good job at maintaining these externals. I mean, so there's been so many times where, you know, they've won this round, especially on defense, and, you know, Kayak's been left just outside the wall. Like, guess I'm in a 1vx and I can't get through this breach wall. That's unfortunate. Will that happen again? Or will they have a bit more success at getting these walls open at this time? Remember, if you can get that instant external pressure, it can, especially from the towards the end of the round, start to really cut off those rotations, cut off those lines of sight. Already Secret. Not really gaining that much information on the drones. Groovy is going to take out Raikos though. That's a very good start indeed. That's a C4 off the board for the side of Valor. And again, the isolation means no trade can come through.
Sleeping for electronics.
Slightly open door there for Team Secret to get in, get stuck in the map. Like I said, they want to get the vertical into their own hands. They want to get control of the map as first target. Right now, it certainly seems to be able to do this, at least on the second floor. They still have to work the magic now to get control up above the spot itself. But at least progress-wise, they're definitely attempting so, and are also rewarded with a bunch of vertical line of sight. We do see Savage right now focused on that. There was also a player from Valor playing underneath who had to fall back. And there's also Joom, as well as Kayak, who could potentially look at punishing a couple of those players who are trying to get back into its safety. Looking to the right, I think it's Jax, who's trying to get up close, up personal, and actually is able to win the gunfight against Juma as well. Once again, Valor, aggressiveness, and then pulling back.
And again, we saw them do this so well in their defense, just applying that pressure and then pulling back. So Secret are forced to try and work out where these players are, forced into that time delay. For now, it looks like they're not quite taking the bait. Oscar is holding, actually, for the full rotation back into sight. So that's going to isolate some players down at the bottom of the stairs there. And that could potentially be capitalized on if the remaining players of Secret can get into the right position. Political pressure being applied. Savage just looking for these black eyes, I would assume, right now. Just really trying to make sure, okay, can they see what we're doing up here? Can they see what we're cooking, what we're trying to work with? Again, look at this, the long lines of sight, but that can be worked both ways. Savage getting tagged up just a little bit. Savage really trying to contest it. It's taken out. That's Diffuser down. This could be massive. 20 seconds on the clock. Diffuser upstairs in no man's land. Kayak has got the wall open, though.
15 seconds remaining. Attackers.
Scrooby will fall to the hands of Frenchie. Jax gets one as well, but Frenchie is traded out by Oscar. Oscar can't do anything when there's a shotgun immediately blasted into his face. Valor taking the first map, and that's Secret's map pick 2. That's gonna really be a rough one.
Again, Team Secret, though, able to pull it to overtime. First shows that those teams were definitely meeting on an eye level, but ultimately 2 rounds on the overtime, meaning it for Team Valor. They're still, when it comes to aggression, the team who are a little bit more, you know, they just play around with those knobs, and every now and then they switch it up.
It was strange at times. It was strange at times because they really went in with actually loads of patience. They weren't doing their normal shenanigans. I think you can clearly tell that they're concerned about, you know, maybe some of these gunfights with Secret. Certainly so. But towards the end, they started to up the ante. It's like it comes from like, you know what, we can just keep falling into our playstyle, then.
We can, and I mean, this whole map, I feel like it started in the Operator Ben phase already. It shows that Valor have really studied what Secret did yesterday. How annoying was June with that Solus trying to make sure that they couldn't go for a plant on the side of Chi-Hu? Well, they ran that out immediately. I feel like there was a lot of flexibility on the side of Secret, though, on their own attacks, for example, with who would play the Monty. But there were also some rounds where when they were hit in the face with something, they didn't have that plan B, that backup. So many times we saw Kayak just standing outside the breach with no entry to the side, his teammates falling, and then no real plan B to make sure that they could recover from that. There was some really nice aggression from Valor and that initiative really on their own defense, wasting out the time there. And obviously round 9 from them as well, that great take where they just appeared onto the bomb side, got the plan down, and then just really closing out. The gun skill from Valor, it seems to be on point today as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, specifically looking at a couple of rounds where Jax was able to pull off stuff which you wouldn't think was possible. I mean, last round as well, Frenchie in that very tight position, still able to make the verticality work his own way. Who else did I note down? Skies. We cannot forget about the first couple of rounds where Skies really went crazy, really pushed the rest of his team. Still, I want to highlight Savage as well as Groovy. They really were able to pull it off, as well as Joom. Dream really stuck out to me today, especially as well. Ultimately, though, I really think that when it came to creativity, Valor was able to come out on top. Just because of them, like you said, right, getting stuck in relatively quickly, going for their plan. It's not like they had to go for the multi-strat. They were able to find creative but different ways to deal with the defense.
I think the creativity was less to do with operator picks and more to do with actual approaches and dimensions to that pressure as well. Because again, they were being really bread and butter at the start of their attacks with how they wanted to approach every single site pretty much that they were going against. And finally, they started to mix it up a little bit towards the end. And I think that gave them the little bit of the edge. Sometimes it's okay, fair enough if you want to be a bit more standard, you want to be a bit more bread and butter, you just want to play it safe in that aspect, but sometimes you just need to be a bit more creative and, you know, bring out that verticality, bring out all of that pressure that Secret themselves were utilizing against you.
10 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean, Secret on their own defense as well. Sometimes it felt like they maybe were a little bit too isolated in some regards, where these players on Valor could just pick them off by surprise and there was no one there to refrag them. Hence why Valor was able to continuously move on within their own path. But this might be a worrying thing for Secret if they lose out their own map pick like that. I mean, it did get to overtime. It was pretty close.
It was close, yes.
And this is why I do think that Nighthaven being let through from the get-go was a little bit like, ooh, they cooking. However, it wasn't really the kind of feast that I expected. I think Valor obviously are very comfortable themselves on Nighthaven, but there wasn't anything, you know, mind-blowingly, oh, this is an obvious counter-strat here. This is an obvious way that they're countering things that we saw the other day. I think it was just more of a factor of them feeling confident enough to be like, okay, we know how to go through the motions on Nighthaven. We just have to do that.
Honestly, I also would like to highlight that they still were struggling. At least their first two attacks really felt like, okay, they weren't able to get in, they weren't able to collect the intel. But then it felt like, okay, they were adapting on the go, really working it out, trying to communicate, trying to think about, okay, how else can we get in? And that is where round 9 has happened. They were like, okay, they have a roam gameplay. We just don't deal with it. We just play directly for side. And again, it's those sneaky little mind games which really can work the magic.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that creativity on Oregon, which will be the pick of Valor. We'll be back in a few. Don't go anywhere. Valor have just beaten Secret on their own map pick, which was Nighthaven. It did go to overtime, but we have some stats to back up how exactly things went down to see which of these players really stand out, because we do have to think about MVPs in that regard as well, because we are crowning an MVP at the end of the series, or at least we have to come up with one. And if we look at these stats here, could we maybe crown an MVP for map 1 specifically?
I feel like part of me kind of wants to go with a Jax, to be honest. There was a lot of cases where Jax was really just being thrown onto the ropes, bless them. And even that, in that instance, you know, to be able to have 13 kills and then a 71% cost is certainly significant. Of course, a big part of that was, especially on those attacks, just trying to force objective. And again, there were a lot of moments where Jax was put in very precarious positions and able to get out of it, really.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. I feel like in the beginning it was more going into the favor of Skies, at least in the first couple of rounds. But then, as you said, Jax definitely picked up what was left, and ultimately all of Team Valor really performed, right? Even Frenchie, I really don't think his cost or his rating is doing him really justice, because we just have to understand, right? They're working as a full unit. You have support players who just don't have the opportunity to shine because the rest of the team, it's just going massive and collecting so many frags. But yeah, I would also go with Jax.
A really big part, of course, also round 13, that first round into overtime. After Valor were on match point for 2 rounds, being able to clench back that momentum while holding the plant off like Jax did, I think really massive as well for his team there. Now, if we think about this, is the only rematch, as we said. The previous time these two teams played against each other, it was a clear 2-0 for Valor, and now it's up to Secret to make sure that they can bring it back in that 1-1 map score. Our second map is Oregon with Silver and Grace.
Oregon, let's get stuck in, shall we? This is exciting stuff indeed. Again, this will be Valor's map pick, and again, for the side of Secret, it is something they haven't really had the most fondest of times on, not really wanting to go there too much. And when it comes to Oregon, there's certainly ways to play around it in terms of the fact that you roughly know what kind of setups to expect when it comes to Oregon. You know, it's very, very bread and butter, very even Stevens, as we like to call it. This is where the aggression can really be turned up to 11, especially on the side of Valor, especially on those attacks by Valor. Very, again, aggressive and punchy attacking team. For Secret right now, they have to be cooking something good. Already getting stuck in with that Twitch ban is quite interesting. Again, I think Valor were able to use that really well to deal with a lot of the utility that Secret wanted to bring. And I would assume, really, unless Valor bring the mirror out here, I think Secret are going to heavily depend on that again, especially when it comes to Oregon, especially when it comes to these long lines of sight that Secret are going to want to maintain on that defense. Even more so, though, of course, the Solis being removed is certainly going to benefit Valor here, because those initial entry points aren't going to be given away by that information of the drones coming through. And of course, the drone eco is going to stay a little bit healthier. How will Secret go through with this final operator ban?
Taking a glimpse there, it's going to be the Fenrir. Once again, does make a lot of sense, especially when you're trying to pressure into an area, into a hallway. You can really, really struggle to deal with those FNet mines. Again, it really seems like both teams are really down into this match, really trying to expect, but also think about what to expect as much as they can. The Twitch ban, like you said, I think is really interesting. It really shows as well that they, on the side of Team Secret, they just don't want to give Team Valor the opportunity to deal with util from a safe position, which again would apply only if you want to get in stuck more, if you want to be more aggressively.
Stay clear of the blast zone.
And Valor themselves, they've gone, okay, well, you take that Twitch away, we'll bring out the turret drones of that Flores. Again, Flores is very, very useful. You can have ADSs. You can bring your magnets. Flores is just going to fly by them and remove utility from any wall, any corner. And speaking of corners, of course, Elbow in particular, when it comes to the basement site, has always got a lot of juicy util that can pretty much instantaneously be dealt with. Even looking at that now, say, for example, we have... Ooh! I'm stopped in my tracks. That Flores might not be brought here. Rykos hinting around the blitz. This could be a bit of a spicy blue push coming through from the side of Valor. Again, depending on where Rykos has spawned, which is actually not going to be anywhere near blue, they're going to go for that small tower push. So again, this presumably might be a little bit of freezer pressure, actually, to be honest. Again, a long line of sight. You don't have that Fenrir to go into either. This is spicy.
But there's a lot of area denial when it comes to Goyo, when it comes to smoke. So you still have to be really careful. You can't just blast in and expect to be the winner on top. Especially looking at Kayak with a shotgun on the freezer staircase. Rykos is relatively close, could potentially also hear the movement. There's also a drone. Frenchie is certainly trying to give as much intel as he can. Shotgun, though, obviously will give away the position. There is the blitz. ADS dealing right now, trying to deal with a shotgun. And he actually is able to win, at least momentarily, dealing a little bit of damage. Also, Kayak decides for it to be a better decision to just fall back to safety. Understandable. But this is a small win from Valor already.
I think really that was quite dangerous of Rykos really going for the pistol whip. There's a shotgun down there, but at least again applying that pressure, even given the logic of those initial shots, it's let Secret swing around the corner, see that blitz, and rightfully so, they've fallen back to sight. So realistically, Rykos has created pressure there around the freezer area just by being that ominous threat of that blitz shield. Again, for the rest of Valor right now, they're just going to work that hatch. If Savage was holding on to the tower stairs, I'm wondering if he is still there. If not, again, falling back to sight could have been a little bit premature, because if you're able to maintain that pressure and maybe cause a bit of a kerfuffle towards tower, or at least try and contest around green, that's going to stop those hatches from getting opened. Loads of pressure for Valor now. Hatches getting opened. Even towards laundry now as well, and of course this global going out alongside the blitz rush into freezer. Things are starting to heat up, Silver.
Absolutely. A lot of drone work again to come out now. They're really trying to get an understanding where did those players reposition to. What do we have to expect? Which crossfires actually are able to be held. Savage opening up on towards skies. Therefore, no more bees in play. Good start there for Team Secret. But we do see the rest of the bunch getting in position. Groovy able to deal with Nyko. And it really seems like this approach is falling apart as Joom's able to deal with Rykos as well as Frenchie. They knew, I think, that there was a player. At least the Mute Jammer was giving that away. Still, they fell for the trap. Good start for Secret, though again, it feels like Valor was stumbling into the spot too quickly.
The main thing is that they didn't have the information there, because the Mute Jam was completely denied it. They didn't have the intel. They did not have the positioning. When you're going for that collapse and you're kind of, again, going for these solo dimensions to that collapse, you are going to get caught off guard very, very quickly if you are facing the wrong way. We've seen it happen so many times with Valor. Bless them. Like, again, even when, I've been thinking of that cafe against Helios where they were just running through the top floor. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong angle, wrong line of sight. Someone just pops up and takes you out. And certainly with Secret, they are going to take you out. If you give them that time to see you before you see them, they are going to just clap you down. Going upstairs now. The Frost being brought out. Frost in Armory. Frost, I would assume, maybe around Attic, and maybe we'll have a cheeky Frost on that double in Bunk as well. Actually, I don't think that is the case. Or is it? The gridlock being brought out by Jax is quite interesting too, because it indicates that they want to make sure there's at least a little bit of a flank watch there. Maybe expecting Secret to start to get a little bit aggressive here on these defenses.
Two Marauders in play here from Team Secret. Once again, them trying to be a factor, them trying to be a little bit of a problem for the Valor. But obviously, as well as last round, this could be the Valor again finding out about it. Finding out about the fact that there's only 3 people in and or about side. Potentially making this, like they did before, a little bit more of an aggressive push. At first glance, Joom off the board. Really good start there. Sky's able to pick him off. And this should definitely open up more opportunities for Valor, as now it's only 2 people roundabout on site. Still verticality, so they really still have to be careful when it comes to that. Oscar still trying to fight back through the side, through closet, to the outside wall. Groovy able to deal with Nyko. Again, a little bit of a trading going in, back and forth. But Team Valor needs to find out what way they want to go in, especially also dealing with those very nasty angles.
Off the round gone, almost. Groovy still really contesting towards this bedroom side. Has to be mindful. To be very mindful indeed, but Savage is going to start to secure games at least. That game's collapse still is going to require some hard breaches. That reinforcement has gone up. Again, the attic pressure could start to trickle through. Especially as we do have Jax there, ready and waiting. Sky's just getting away with murder there. Kayak will fall. And that's the potential pressure that could have come vertically from Kayak, completely removed from the board. So now Secret really funneled towards Bunk, really funneled towards Kids. As I say that, Groovy looking to get Bolshy again. I think maybe Valor could get caught off guard here because Groovy's going a bit aggressive. The bullets giving it away yet again. But again, that could deny a little bit of time here. Oscar gets one there onto Jax.
Savage picks up Skies. Will be dealt with though from the perspective of Frenchie. There's still somebody close. Rykos falls to Groovy. Groovy able to pick off Frenchie as well. Really good stuff in the end, though a little bit more sus playstyle there when it comes to Valor. It really seemed like they didn't 100% know where those players were positioned, right?
And yeah, they were doing really well to clear position, and you know, obviously even again Kayak getting removed below, which meant that vertical pressure could no longer be there. Dealing with the player in quality, you're dealing with a player at the top of laundry stairs, and then kind of falling victim to those lines of sight that
Locate and defuse
even at the end there was kind of just a little bit janky there. You could call out must have come through, or maybe it didn't. Again, Secret getting 2 rounds on the top, which is very good for them. They themselves have said, we struggle at the start of maps. We really struggle getting that momentum in the first few rounds. And Secret have been able to really play well here, you know, really been able to win these gunfights. Granted, they're having times where Valor just look like they're just not really fighting back at times, but Secret certainly making sure that they hit them where it hurts. And speaking of which, those Razor Blooms are coming out on Oscar, bringing the Fawn out. Very, very flexible trap utility. You can hide them, you can sneak them into every nook and cranny. They can catch people off guard.
Especially in conjunction with the Banshees. You slow them when they're trying to get in, at the same time you have them applied and they can deal a lot of damage, if not even get rid of you. So once again, Valor has to have the drone work in place, has to have a good understanding what to expect. Nyko able to get in relatively quickly into the map. Obviously the Razor Bloom will deal not only damage, but also give away the position. Nyko deals with Groovy. Savage able to find Skies for himself though. Liberal C4 action there, not landing as of right now. A little bit of an aggressive start, and now they're pulling back.
Going for that reposition. Looking for the safety first aspect again. Could be assumed that once you've rustled a little bit of the jimmies, maybe that approach upstairs will fall off a little bit, but it looks like Valor are still aware there is one remaining player upstairs. Savage, with mute jammers in pocket, is going to start to prepare his defense. He is going to start to batten down the hatches. He is going to start to prevent that information from falling into the hands of Valor, and that could be pretty whopper, to be honest. Again, they need to work out where he is. He is the only person still contesting this top floor. And if Valor are able to gain hold of it, that verticality is going to start to come through. That additional pressure, that attic control could fall into their hands. And they can go for that stage plant as the timer ticks down.
Oscar still trying to hold down of most of the shower as well as White's hallway, as Savage is making his way back downstairs, which ultimately enables Valor to play the entirety of the top floor. Still there's throttable utility. Jax now able to deal with Doom. Oscar finds Frenchie. Oscar finds a second one. Rykos. Once again, free frag for him. Savage off the board. Oscar going absolutely massive. Triple kill thus far. Really good job. Only Rykos up and living. He has not only util in his back pocket, but also really good gadget. Oscar's flashed momentarily. A couple of util, I think, was lying out there as well. Another flashbang. Drone work coming into the position as well, as obviously Rykos is not trying to make a mistake here. He definitely wants to win this one. Not too sure. I don't think he saw that there was a player right next to him. As obviously the player far away gave away his position to deal with his own. Flashbang coming around now, taking damage. Revealing the position. This will be relatively tight. Still he's able to fight it into the kitchen. 2 people to be worried about. 2 positions to be worried about. Diffuser now back in his own hand. He's relatively far in. The crossfire though is established, and Oscar able to pick up his 4th one as well. Team Secret is sailing away significantly right now after picking up 3 rounds.
And do you know what? Good for them. Like this, to be fair, this is a good map for Secret. Historically, at least. And I think when it comes to even this new iteration of the roster, Oregon is a map you should know like the back of your hand. I think, you know, your Oregons, your Clubhouses, it is one of those maps where you should be able to 9 times out of 10 win on that defensive half. You should know all of the tricks, all of the tools, every single nook and cranny that the attack will try and gain.
Speaking about things the attack would try, I really like the approach of Valor. At first, attempting to be a little bit faster, therefore baiting the rest of Team Secret to fall back towards side, and then you can get the control back of the upper floor hold, which isn't, you know, it's a really good idea. They were able to still get a kill out of it, still traded, nothing too bad, nothing too good. But there was only one roamer left in the upper floor, which I think was a really good thought process, but then the verticality didn't really go the way they intended it to.
It didn't. There's also times, especially like this map in particular, where
Attackers must locate.
the reaction time's a little bit slow on the side of Valor, I'll say. And that's allowing some really gorgeous and really impactful picks to fall into the hands of Secret, who are absolutely on it like a car bonnet right now. Again, 3 rounds on the trot. They're going to be feeling pretty confident right now. And I'm wondering if that's going to change the momentum of how they'll play. Maybe they themselves will start to get a little bit more aggressive. Already we're seeing extensions to this hold as well. This large roam presence. They're not feeling too shook right now. They're feeling very confident, very competent at being able to win out these gunfights. Valor are really struggling with these frags at the moment, and Secret themselves, they can afford right now to be a bit cheekier. They can afford this extension. Even if they lose this round, well, they're still in the lead by 2 rounds.
This time they don't have a blitz or anything similar to deal that easily with the control right now still over the freezer stairs. Which begs the question, how do they do it this time around? How do they deal with the players? Or is it just Team Secret pulling back towards safety? It seems like that, yeah, that was the case. So obviously the drone work should give that away. Still, more than enough time for Valor to introduce vertical gameplay, open up the hatches, and ultimately also find a way in towards side. For the time being, really good progress, but Team Secret actually now turtling with 5 people, still having the smoke, still having the Mira, still having the Goyo shields as well. Ultimately, so many opportunities to not only deny entrance, but also to deny certain areas, which I'm really curious to see how is Valor able to find the way in. How are they this time around planning and executing that attempt?
Rykos looking for the opening engagement. It's going to try and open up a large line of sight into Closet. Ooh, Savage is there, ready and waiting on that Warden. Deals with him very easily. Again, the Vulcan slowing down that approach from Freezer, and even more so, Kayak, yes, the shotgun in hand, but has 3 Toxic Babes to deny that even more. Doom is going to take out Skies. Nako gets 1 onto Savage. At least that's not a flawless in the hands of Secret right now. But again, Valor, they're really struggling. The timer is ticking. There's so much util right now, preventing them from getting stuck into this site. And again, Flash is going out, but Is it really going to contest it? Anything? Nako will fall to the hands of Oscar. Doom's going to get one onto Frenchie as well, and Jax is left at a 1v4 before Doom can collect that dub. Secret once again, now sailing away with it. 4 rounds on the trot.
Well, it really seems like the timeout has to come around for Valor. Again, that aggression, that creativity, I wasn't able to see that right now. Especially due to the fact that Team Secret is first introducing that heavy roam gameplay, and then ultimately, relatively quickly deciding to fall back towards side, which for Valor at first is like a risky point. Do we still have to fear anyone roaming? Do we still have to fear anyone roaming, luring anywhere about? That wasn't the case. Valor actually got quite a big part of the map gifted to them. But then when it came to the 3-2-1s, when it came to the coordination for the final push, again, the positioning of Secret was so tough to deal with. The crossfires were established so well that Valor wasn't really able to deal with it in any way, especially looking at Laundry again, right? You had the elbow angle from Mira. You had Freezer. You had still the position next to the Laundry machine. So many opportunities where Valor wasn't really able to deal with them.
And again, it's the fact that, you know, you're coming down to the end, even if you are whittling down the defenses of Secret, you've then got Oscar just stood there. Again, Oscar hasn't died yet. And even, you know, think about meeting, for example, like Oscar was just ready and waiting, lurking, ducking, diving, getting those ones, and no one was able to trade it. No one is able to take him out. Because 4 rounds, 7 kills, certainly on fire right now. Being a menace towards Valor, a super menace. And I think really for Valor, this timeout needs to be converted because, again, they're struggling with these gunfights. Like, let's not beat around the bush. They're struggling with the gunfights. Even sometimes trying to take these gunfights, they don't have the information they need. They can do a really good job at clearing. They can do a really good job of having the right kit there and then the right idea. But again, information is king when it comes to this approach, especially given that now, again, Secret, you've given them so much breathing room that they are going to start to be a little bit freaky. They are going to start to extend wider. They are going to start to play below. They are going to start to rat it out a little bit because they can. They're comfortable right now. 4 rounds on the trot, Silver.
Yeah, rightfully so. I'm really hoping that this timeout is working how it is intended to. Team Valor needs to make adaptations, rightfully, as we're looking at the roster already, at the operator pick. Certainly, we do see a lot of variation. They still stick to the Ayana, but now we do have the global util from the Lion. We do have Flores. Redco's able to open up onto Savage. Good starting point. Potentially, again, an opportunity for them to pick up on that. Now, especially when you have the opening frag in your favor, you have the opportunity to introduce more or even better crossfires towards your opponent. At least in theory, you still have to get into the right perspective, into the right position. Upside down repel. Kayak has to be careful, has to be mindful. Will be laid up a fair bit as well. It's still Frenchie in under pressure, but he actually will be able to make it back on the roof. Really good stuff there from Team Secret as well to deal with those power positions. And again, be effective for Valor, trying to not have them settle in anywhere too comfortably. Kayak able to deal with Nako as well. Really good. No more Rotero drones. This could be a starting point for them to even further establish their position.
Pack and Groovy are tagged up a little bit though, and that means that they are going to have to be a bit safer. They are going to have to try and fall back a little bit and really rely on Doom and Oscar. Granted, you know, not really anything to be sad about in that aspect. Those 2 players have popped out off already throughout this series. Sky is getting tagged up significantly, isn't aware of the crossfire. And that's pretty much flipped around on their head. This was looking so good for Valor, and now it's looking a little bit dicey. Secret just fighting back with a little bit of punchiness. And a willingness to, again, contest this. I don't think Valor were expecting that. I think they thought, oh, they might go passive now. No, they are fighting tooth and nail. Kayak has fallen, finally. Frenchie getting his one. But they still need to work out the collapse they want to take. And again, I was going to say, they're starting to look a bit unhealthy. Certainly now, Frenchie is taken out for the count. Skies will fall too. Jack's left in a 1 versus 3. Oscar is there. Yet another round on the table for Secret. 5 on the trot. And this is really uncomfortable now for the side of Valor. Because again, even when it flips over to maybe that more favorable defensive half, they are going to be having a rough time given the fact that Secret are now so close to that match point already.
Especially due to the fact that they did take the timeout. I was expecting to see a little bit more. But again, at this point, Team Secret is at the point where they are playing more aggressively. They're risking more. And they haven't been really punished thus far, which is a really big point, which goes in the favor right now of Team Secret. And again, the more this swings in their favor, the more they will be able to pick up on this. Last round on defense, where they can certainly abuse this. And again, we are seeing those aggressive operator picks. The conjunction of Thorn. Again, it's the trap meta they're picking. It's the opportunities they're picking to limit the options of Valor. I really like this approach from Team Secret. It's again like we saw yesterday, the aggression, the dominance, the proactivity. This is exactly what I'm expecting from Team Secret to be, you know, the red line throughout the day today.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Bravo Flores combo. Just try and sneak in and deal with some utility before they start to try and take that approach. The air jab's coming out from Jackets as well. So I'm trying to use the track stingers on the gridlock earlier to prevent those flanks from coming through. I think the air jab certainly can be a little more effective at times. Not only does it kind of stop those flanks, stop those pressure, it also gives you that nice little audio cue, which can certainly be beneficial. Again, though, for Valor, they have to bring that secret sauce. They have to cook something here. They have to try and do something slightly different. I think that was a bit of a whiff by Rakos. Skies is going to fall as the opening kill, so no global utility now for the side of Valor, which they really could have used to deal with some of these players on the side of Secret, who again, they are going to be throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this attack now. They are going to be hyper-aggressive. They are going to be bolshy, because why wouldn't they? Think of the power, think of the control that they have. They're in a comfort place. They can go for these ridiculous moments, these ridiculous plays.
And exactly that is what I'm expecting. Specifically looking at Kayak, he's once again in a really strong position, potentially denying that force which is coming from the outside of Big Tower. Valor certainly trying to increase the pressure from that side a little bit more, but this is going to be tricky. Again, it's the crossfire. It's Kayak being a constant factor. Friendship dealt with from the side of Groovy. The shotgun to the head of Rykos. Groovy able to pick off Neko as well. Jax at least able to retaliate onto Kayak. 1v4. Is he able to make the dream work? Is he able to deny the flawless half on the defense? Groovy lit up, trying to fight it back, trying to get on towards Jax. Still Jax up and living. Air jab used. Limiting the options once again of anyone retaliating with him, but the long angle's working in the favor of Team Secret again. Team Secret 6-0 on the first half here on Oregon. Nothing was lost yet, but I'm definitely seeing where Team Secret wants to go with this.
And that's the perfect example of what we expected to happen. Secret could get into these very hyper-aggressive positions. They could get into these kind of ratty spots that weren't being droned out, that weren't being even considered by Valor. And as a result, any approach they tried, again, at one point it looked like Valor could very easily, if they just dealt with Kayak, go for that meeting collapse if they needed. I mean, granted, they didn't really have the attic control, but I mean, this is ridiculous. Again, like, the fact that they did not know Kayak was there, he could immediately shut down that drone. The rest of them could immediately shut down the pressure in green. Valor had so much control, and it fell apart within seconds. Just because Secret in the lead, having that confidence because they're in the lead to make these bolshy plays. Now, it is match point.
Attackers have
That is awkward for Valor right now. That is awkward. This is Valor's map pick, and I do believe that we kind of saw this yesterday. And I once again, just want to reiterate, Oscar has not died yet. Oscar has not died. Oscar 9-0 right now.
5 seconds remaining.
My apple pie. Significant stuff from that player. Again, subbing in, little pickup for the season for Secret to play in this South Breach tournament. And certainly making it work for them. Goodness me.
The big question is, can Team Secret also work on attack? Because this is what they have to prove now. The turnarounds used to get rid not only of utility, but also of the exterior barricade. It's Team Secret trying to find the first couple of entrance points for themselves. They have a Ying, they have a Capital, so they have a lot of opportunity to generate chaos out of thin air. They just have to find the right timing and the right positions to pull that out of the hat. At least for the time being, it looks like Team Secret wants to get stuck in the upper floor, which is gifted to them from the side of Valor. They're not playing vertically. They're not playing with their own gameplay. In fact, it's all 5 of them turtling on site. And again, due to the fact that Team Secret was able to pull off 6 rounds back-to-back on defense, it is understandable. They're not trying to lose it here. They're not trying to give this or anything away for free, though Valor is still one of the most dominant teams here in the competition, especially when it comes to aggression, especially when it comes to opening frags. And if you're just hiding on side, well, I was about to say it's not too easy to get an opening frag. Rykos just proved the difference there. Savage off the board. No more Capital on the board. Certainly already a good starting point for Valor, but there's still more pressure prepped right now from Team Secret. They still have to deal potentially also with Oscar when it comes around the corner. There's 2 people up on the staircase! Oscar finally dealt with! Jax, though, able to be brought out of the game as well. Frenchie in with Kayak. Jum able to retaliate onto Skies. And they're sitting on site, though still not in control over most parts of it. Ruby gone as well. Jum, last man standing. Rykos finds him as well. And now Valor is fighting back.
Can be fighting back, but certainly still a very, very difficult uphill battle. They need to get 6 rounds on the trot, knowing the whole time it is match point, and if they make one mistake, this map is over. It's a very difficult climb up that mountain. Again, though, for the side of Secret, again, they can just go for pocket strats now. They know they only have to go 1 round. And this is where I expect this aggression to come through. This is where I expect the utility use to come through. And they did attempt it in this round, you know. They bought a lot of good kit out. They bought the Capital to deal with the elbow. They, you know, various places. For example, Pillar could be very, very useful to take those firebolts towards Pillar. We're seeing that still again, too, on the side of Secret. They're taking that Ying, they're taking the Grim, all that information in to pin down and hold certain choke points. Also bringing the Thinker. Nice little boost. We see Savage actually re-picking onto the Lion as well, so potentially, if he does go back to that Lion, we could see that Global being stuck. Looks like they just want to get a bit more information instead. Again, going from the Grim to the Lion to the Ayana, it really does indicate, okay, we need a bit more info. Let's see what we can do here. Oscar's got those Candelas in his pocket. Finally has died as well. Slightly, you know, dampening the statistics a little bit.
But like I said, still obviously a very good position for Team Secret to be in. Every slight mistake can be converted into a map win for them. For Valor, it's completely different way round. Savage able to deal with Nyko as he was punished last round. He's able to punish Valor this time round first and foremost. Really good starting point, especially considering Mute is off the board. Therefore also a potential C4 not in play anymore, which is a good starting point, especially considering it's Kid Storms, 1 roamer out of the equation as well. Renko's able to deal with Jum. Again, the global util not gonna make it. Savage seems to just sit on side. Kayak dealing with Rykos, and everything seems to be falling apart. Left, right, and center. Bodies almost everywhere. Jax finds 2. Savage and Kayak off as well. Groovy, 1v2. What can you do? Again, awkward position. No diffuser, and Skies together with his teammate. Very, very well played, but ultimately the chaos completely broke apart. What just happened? That was a very fast, very chaotic round.
Again, just Valor being in that power position of having the defense seems to be working for them thus far. And again, they're really taking these fights to Secret. They're not backing down right now, but they're not being hyper-aggressive about it. They're not willing to push it that extra further step. I think they think that might be too far over the line. They might end up losing a few bodies uncomfortably. Secret, now readjusting their approach, have assumed, could have actually assumed perfectly, and there we go, great read there, that there's going to be meeting. So they'll bring the Osa to the table. Again, indicates that Oscar wants to create these power positions. Again, if you're going for that meeting plan, you would be really using those talent shields to give you a bit of cover. But both within that tower and also when you eventually go for that plant in meeting. Can also be utilized if you're taking the dining approach too. Of course, it gives you a little bit of a safety net when you're contesting towards showers and dining, because I do think that can be a difficult spot to clear. Showers can have so many nasty little utility setups, especially nowadays, but it seems pretty, again, not so much lackluster, but pretty basic coming through from Valor.
As I said, it's kitchen and meeting. So again, I'm expecting to see verticality as the main target point, both for Valor as well as Team Secret. Probably going to fight it out as much as they can. Though, we do see Savage right now in the basement. It's certainly spicy, as he could just potentially work his way towards the freezer staircase, or even up laundry if he wants to. Obviously, big tower is also a very good opportunity, but ultimately, them getting that into their own hand, into their own control, is really already good. Since, especially meeting, you can have players sitting there, like we saw Kayak, for example, earlier as well, holding, sitting it out as long as possible. Charlie, that's not possible anymore, like I said, as we do see both Kayak as well as Savage dealing with that side of the map. Jax is around that area, should have heard this sound alarm as well. Nyko falling, opening break again into the hands of Savage. Good stuff from Team Secret once again. It really comes down to the last 4 players, again, of Valor. They need to shine. Run-out attempt, potentially there to deal with Kayak. Yes, but Jax will fall ultimately as well into the hands of Oscar. It's again, the aggression levels seem to be on both sides. Every now and then, up. Ultimately, again, though, in a favor a bit more towards Team Secret.
Well, Secret, again, still have that match point position, so that certainly is going to benefit them. They can, again, have lots of breathing room to make some mistakes. They can have breathing room to go a bit more punchy with it. But Valor right now, they have to be mindful of the toolkits that they have in their pockets right now, right? Because, for example, 2 keepers in pocket can wait for that timer to burn out more and more, and then really use that to benefit their team when this final approach comes through from Secret. And it already looks like they're trying to find a little bit of a gap in the defenses. I think the fact that Doom is now holding here uncontested on the side of Valor. Oscar coming with his Talon shield now. This could be quite interesting if Oscar can just sneak in and get that shield down. Rykov's from the hatch though. He's going to be calling that out. Has had his feet seized, tagged up just a little bit. There goes one keeper.
Position.
But again, Oscar can try and sneak in here. Sky, rightfully so, has gone for that reposition to try and contest it. So where things start to get a little bit dicey. Again, Oscar can just feed his information constantly. Ooh, Skies gets one there. Looks for the feet of Oscar. Swings around the corner, gets taken out though. A little bit of a whiff there. Sky's falling. Frenchie gets one there. And Oscar, to finish things off, has absolutely played out of his mind this map. And there we have it. Wow. A 7-2 to Secret. Not the best first map for them, but that certainly is a heavy punch back into the face of Valor. We're not going down that easily, my friends.
Well, 7-2. What a result. I mean, 6-0 on the first half. Then a little bit of 2 shaky first attempts on attack. But like you said, right, it is the strength of the map. It is slightly defense heavy when it comes to top 4, when it comes to basement. But this third round really looked different. They really had a clear plan. They really had a well thought of execution. Again, it went to be a little bit more close than I expected it to be. Frenchie had found them both lined up. It could have swung into his favor as well. Ultimately, still, Team Secret dominating on Oregon.
There was absolutely nothing that Valor seemed to be able to do about Secret's defense there. They kept on bringing out these ideas. Sometimes, as you two were talking, they even got the opening kill, then retracted themselves from that situation. But when it came down to those late round plays, there was just so much utility that Secret had, and these power positions as well, that made it so that they were able to deal with that late round pressure. We saw the Valor players just standing, waiting, having that fire in front of them, having, you know, the intel on where these players are, but not being able to do something with it due to the things that were blocking them in their ways. And then we saw, of course, on attack for Secret, for eventually, struggling on those first 2 rounds, but it comes due to the nature of that map. And in the 3rd round, where you go to the 3rd cherry bomb side, it was finally successful for Team Secret.
I think too, when you're on that 6-0, you can afford a little bit of breathing space. You can afford to get a little bit more creative with the way that you want to approach things, and you can afford those mistakes. So we did start to see Secret try and go a little bit more direct at times, and obviously getting caught out guard. But they did, they had the benefit of having 6 rounds and having that consistent match point. And they knew they had that match point, worst case scenario for 6 rounds more, So it's a difficult one. I think at that point, when it comes to Valor being in the 6-0 position on the loss, how much momentum can you actually gain at that point? Because again, it's such an uphill battle. If one mistake happens, it's the end of the map.
Especially, I also think that due to the fact that they were able to get a couple of rounds under their belt, and then the momentum really was in their favor. The aggression levels rose as well from the side of Team Secret. It's really what I saw yesterday them excel at. And I really think that if they can hold on to this, this might swing more and more in their favor, because they really struggle when it's Valor aggressive against them, when it's Valor in the control. But if they have an overview, if they have control, if they have the aggression on their side, we just saw what could happen. Right? And I'm really afraid to see this swing more in the favor of, Team Secret, but also for Valor.
I mean, Secret now obviously have the momentum or the opportunity to continue that momentum, because their own map pick, which is Clubhouse, is up after the break. Well, Team Secret have just put up a very, very dominant Oregon, and we have some stats to see if Oregon was as dominant from the rounds as it was in the stats as well. Looking at how things are shaping up, that seems like really good cost, but also on the killing department. I mean, we mentioned Oscar before, didn't die up until like, what, round 5 or something?
It was absolutely crazy. I think actually Oscar didn't die at all during the first half, I'm pretty sure.
He only died then.
Yeah, he only died as soon as they went on to attack, which again this significantly shows how much not only that Oscar was playing really well, but even more shows that Valor were not able in those final moments, even if they were dealing with that immediate force from Secret that they were coming up against from the get-go, and they were whittling down those players, they could not get it over the finish line towards the end of round. They could not deal with Oscar hunkered down on site.
I'm really hoping as well that we are going to see a little bit of a different approach or a little bit of a different Team Valor at all when it comes to the next map. Obviously now it's again a map of Team Secret, but ultimately speaking, we can see this on the frag department, we can see this on the stat department overall as well. It really felt like it lacked on creativity, it lacked on opportunity thinking, it lacked on fragability, it lacked a tiny bit as well. Not the best map for Valor, but it's not what we expected from them, right? It's not their standards.
It's one of those weird ones where it was like, hey, it's a good map for them historically, but again, it's one of those even Stevens playing fields. I assume, to be honest, if we were gonna have the Oregon and the Clubhouse come out, it was gonna be at the very end of the series. It was gonna trickle through there. I thought both of these sides were gonna start hitting really heavy with those really, really, sweaty maps that they have. Even maybe the border as the second map could have been spicy just to get the map, under the belt. I think this shows that Valor have been a little bit overconfident when it comes to the map bans. Really thinking that second map was going to go in their favor and they could just sail away with it afterwards, I would assume. But yeah, for Secret right now, a very strong position to be in. Very, very strong indeed. Clubhouse is a very, very good map for them. Valor have kind of hidden it a little bit as well. Valor haven't really wanted to really show too much on that. And again, we kind of assume that most teams have it as that, map that they know. And when you come to scrimming, you kind of scrim out the 9s 9 times out of 10 because every team in the world looking for scrim wants to at least do Clubhouse once in the series that you're playing with them. So again, this should be pretty good for both sides, maybe weighted a bit more towards Secret. It really will come down to whether Valor can get that momentum back under their belt here.
Absolutely. I really think that, especially for Team Secret, as long as they can hold to the aggression, also on Clubhouse, run outs, peeks into the spawn, all of that is really possible. If they can reproduce that, I really think it could swing even further in their favor. But I'm hoping for the Valor fans and also for Valor themselves that they are able to find their way back into the game.
It would be very nice indeed for them to have them find themselves back into the game, because Clubhouse, we've seen Secret play on this map before. They've had really strong starts. And hearing from the interview yesterday from Kayak as well, when they don't have a strong start, that's when they start to struggle a little bit. But it's up to Secret to see whether they can continue this continuation on Clubhouse as we go into map number 3 with Silver and Grace.
Clubhouse, Daphouse, let's get stuck in. I'm so ready. Again, even Steven playing grounds, as both teams have won one map. Ultimately speaking, meaning that this map can already tiny bit decide what way we can expect this best of 5 to swing. But first and foremost, let's start with the bans. Ying off the board does make a lot of sense. We do see Valor on defense. Also, that was to be expected. Take a look on what attacker ban we are going to see from Secret. And I really think this is an intelligent one. Twitch. We really did see Valor struggling when it comes to getting not only rid of Util on the defensive side, but also able to find out towards, the opponent. What are they playing? What are they cooking? Again, not playable.
So reiteration of what they did the last map, really. They have got rid of the Tubero this time, potentially leaving Fenrir on the board depending on what Valor decide to do here. Assume they would be the Solis. Yes, indeed. Valor really hate that Solis. They really hate the fact that their drone eco can be damaged by the spec. And again, that really does emphasize even more how well Valor play around the information gathering on their attacks. Granted, they're starting defense here. And again, Fenrir being open means Jax can plonk onto that nice and safely. The mirror being brought to the basement site as well. Alongside those Vulcans, the mute jammers too. This is a spicy setup already. Again, pretty basic, pretty even Stevens. But it looks like they really want to control that final collapse, that final entry point in towards the side. I'm just wondering if they're going to go for an extension on that roam. That is my main question here. And if they do, maybe we see them save, you know, one of those dread mines in pocket if they need it. That could at least create some hyper-aggressive plays.
And this is it, right? This is Clubhouse. Hyper-aggression can certainly happen. I'm really expecting this to happen as a really sneaky Valcam there in the kitchen sink. So make sure, as Gray says, to not toss the kitchen sink as well, because then you won't have that Valcam anymore. But again, it's Valor trying to find out what Team Secret is cooking, trying to find out about the positioning. The only problem I do see is Secret picking on to that IQ, which ultimately could be exactly the secret sauce to deal with the Valcams and all the other bits and pieces of util. Nyko, aggression from minute one. As we expected, they're trying to get the upper hand relatively quickly. Though it looked like Team Secret is expecting that and actually decides to go for a little bit of a slower start, taking time to walk out of spawn, taking time to find the drones in the right position. Also, Jax trying to get a little bit sneaky, a little bit ratty relatively early on, but unsuccessful. Team Secret sits it out.
And again, a late placement of a mute jammer just to, again, prevent any entry now they know where it's coming from. And that's going to be pretty useful. Again, the fact that they know where that entry point is coming from, the fact that they can deny that information from the hands of Secret, prevent that approach, that is decent.
Rightfully so. Groovy right now able to get a little bit more of control of the upper floor into his own hand. Drone should give away the position of the player in blue, though Groovy able to come out on top. Really good stuff. This is what we've been talking about. Team play, droning yourself in, droning your teammates in, trying to not rush in anywhere blindly. It's exactly what Team Secret is good at, and it's exactly what they showed us right here as the opening frag as well. Now, Jack's not on the board anymore. Isn't too big of the deal, as especially since we do see Valor hunkering down all 5 of them on side now, which should still be playable. But Util is still on the board. Especially those mute jammers are certainly a little bit of a... almost able to deal with Savage. I was about to say that this could have been deadly for him. Though again, Valor trying to fight back slightly, not too successful. Whereas Team Secret is still settling themselves in.
Love the attempt at a cheeky floor bang as you hear that soft breach go down on the floor.
See you on the other side.
And you know where that pre-placement usually is? Ooh, one lot of X-Kairos dealt with. Will the second be dealt with also? There we go. But that's both nades used in the pockets of Nyko now. And Oscar can start to work that hatch. Granted, lots of kit being used, lots of time being wasted. Doom making quick work of this Moto hatch as well. We need to remember, because of the time they're taking, it means they have to commit to this collapse. Skies has fallen though, so that gives, again, a lot of breathing room to go for this approach, as maybe a bit silly sausages here. Frenchie and Nako getting stuck in here, getting very aggressive indeed, and Frenchie completely, potentially spinning this round on the head. Oscar getting tagged up by the fire. Goodness me, fire, water, burn. Kayak and Oscar have fallen down, and Savage is now left in a 1v3. Valor, hyper-aggressive plays there, taking the surprise approach and getting that first defensive round under their belts. Incredible stuff indeed.
Incredible indeed, as you say. The creativity of that duo stack to come up those blue stairs and deal with the current process of Team Secret trying to find out what way to go. Obviously, this is more of a down phase for the attack as they're trying to find out about the defense. They're trying to find out what way they want to choose ultimately, but really creative, really good thought process of Valor.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, but sometimes that desperate measure isn't so desperate. It's just Valor playing into the fact that they like to get a little bit freaky with it. They like to bring that fire to you. They're confident enough to do it. And rightfully so, that caught Secret completely by surprise. They were like, what on earth are they doing?
Especially since it was a duo push, right? If it was an isolated push, I really think that they could have potentially gotten one and then fallen in retaliation, but that duo push saved the entire round. As you said, completely flipped it upside down. Really good start. It's especially good to see after what we did see on map number 2. A lot of punishment, a lot of, you know, momentum problems on the side of Valor. At least they're not number 1. Even though they weren't able to pick up the opening frags, they still are able to retaliate with aggression. Fight fire with fire.
Objective is to locate a bomb and defuse.
Your bedroom now. Again, pretty standard setup. ADS is just to give them a little bit of cover. And it charges on the wall. One in pocket for Jax to play with. Nothing denying this CCTV wall. So that is going to get opened nice and quickly. And again, such is the nature of Clubhouse. Sometimes those externals are just open from the get-go. You still got a lot of kit to get through. You still got a lot of players to get through. What is going to make that a lot easier is the fact that Oscar is on that floor as those Arturo drones yet again will be able to clear a lot of utility.
Bomb has been located.
Secret starting to work more externals now too, and again, I assume a rotation may come through eventually. Either they're going to try and push through Logi, or they're just going to immediately go to their windows. We haven't really seen them contest the windows too much in previous matches, to be fair.
Once again, Joom trying to establish himself into the exterior wall by cutting away the reinforcement. Did do the trick, meaning the rest of the bunch should be able to open up the wall. The return drone is just coming around. Renko's opening frag to Savage. No more bees this time around as well. Groovy falling to Nyko. The aggression levels from Valor are certainly not only rising, but also hitting hard. Kayak has to be certainly careful. Also, Oscar, they're isolated, which is the biggest threat for them and the biggest opportunity for Valor. Again, they have to find other ways into side. Jax dealing with Joom. And again, it seems like Team Secret is falling apart. At least Kayak able to not enable a flawless run anymore. Takes a lot of damage as well as he tries to get in towards the position of Cash. And this is it. Right now, they're able to play again as a team, as support was able to come round. Though, Kayak, Skies goes crazy. Valor, second round under the belt. And again, it's aggression from Valor, which secures the round.
Oscar and Kayak had the right approach there, being like, okay, let's play around that duo, we'll pinch to play in Cash. What they didn't expect was Skies pushing up to that Cash doorway, essentially shutting that down, that attempt, that approach. A very good start for Valor, really playing into this idea of having that comfort net, these comfort angles. Secret have to approach them, and they're being really good at, again, maintaining and controlling the level of initiative and push that they want to actually bring. And it's something we've seen consistently throughout the season from Valor. They know when to time things. They know when to time things perfectly. Sometimes they just go for these bolshy moves and they work. And then at that point, they go safety first mode. Again, for Secret, I think they need to start bringing out a few sneaky little tricks, a few sneaky little approaches, just to gain a bit more information, maybe play around these duo pinches. We are going to see the classic Monty come out. Again, this is Server, this is Cash. Can just send Kayak waddling up onto rafters, immediately contesting, immediately applying pressure here. And it's this freaky mirror placement that sometimes I forget people do this, and I get very, very bemused, I will say. Again, it can give you that nice little line of sight, can sometimes prevent people from wanting to actually approach that external from the get-go as well. Because even if they deal with that mirror, you've then still got, again, a fair amount of kit that you can use. I mean, Grand rightfully so they're not tricking here. They haven't bought any mute jammers, they haven't bought any bandit. They do have Keybers, potentially, if one can generate from Skies. And already Oscar getting stuck in to get that wall open, to deal with that mirror. To try and make a way into this breach. Again, for the side of Secret right now, they just need to see what they're working with. They need to try and get that information, but there's Mozzie on the table, and those pests are going to be scattered about. Those pests, quite literally, are going to be a pest.
Absolutely, and especially now trying to find out what Skies is doing there. Should be the next target mission for Team Secret. Especially also the exterior breach, as it is now open up more widely, should enable them to apply more pressure towards side. Jack still trying to fight it back. And there was a red ping, so I'm not too sure if the outside cam was still up and living. Should have been dealt with by now as well. Second person getting closer towards the CCTV bridge. As obviously this is going to be the main target point. Joom getting ready to send up those bees. There's also the Monty, though he is blocked as of right now, since there has been a key barrier applied. Dealt with though, as I say that. Enabling the Monty to go up Sky's in a very dangerous position. He cannot move left. Beast, he cannot move right. Monty, he can't really move at all. Can he still do damage is the question. Kayak definitely took a little bit of damage to him. Ultimately, though, it will be Team Secret getting the control of that. Savage able to also deal with Nyko. And again, aggression coming up from Valor, though this time it will be punished. This time it will not be successful as of right now. He's spotting the position of, I think it was Raikos there. No, it was Frenchie. And very sneaky positioning there of Raikos. He's walking past the players. C4 could be huge though. Though it's a flawless round as Team Secret is just able to pick up those frags. Fight fire with fire is certainly what Team Secret was thinking.
I think it's good that they went El Clasico, where again, having that Monty go up onto the rafters, it is a classic. You know, do you just take that shield, apply that pressure? At that point, the player on rafters has to be mindful because that pressure is coming from the door, potentially coming elsewhere as well, because remember, there are lines of sight being created from the breach, from below. I think at the moment you lose garage controls when things can really spiral out of control very quickly. It's when you're like, oh, we really have to start to play around this plant denial now. You know, they have all this pressure. They can just collapse in nice and snugly behind that server rack. Rightfully so. Using that kit, Secret are able to get around on this attacking approach.
Time to redecorate.
Back to basement.
Basement T, certainly once again. Expectation from my side is relatively high due to the fact that we are seeing a lot of area denial. Once again, it's the Vulcan canisters in conjunction with the Mira. Typically speaking, the Mira window is especially used in order to deal with the main staircase. And I'm also trying to find out where Jax has positioned his Dreadnought mines. Also, they can be really tricky to deal with, especially when you look at Blue, for example. Position them on the ceiling, position them around a corner, anywhere. It is just painful to fight into that. Nyko, aggression from minute one. Again, really seems to be the main thing Team Valor is trying to pull off. But again, as in the first attempt, not successful. Those guys is at least able to collect a free drone for himself. Nice little punishment there for Team Secret currently trying to get intel. In the meantime, we do see Valor had applied reinforcements to the upper floor to the Jacuzzi breach. Though it was already open from Team Secret, so it should enable them, especially due to the fact that Savage is still able to find all these intel into his own perspective, able to find out what is applied where do we need to be careful, and ultimately potentially also where is somebody playing around. Whereas we know, due to the fact that a wonderful observer is highlighting this to us, there's no roamer anymore in the upper floor.
As my friend was saying, time to
It's
make
breathing room potentially for Secret to be able to notice and work around. That's going to give them the breathing space to start to work these hatches, start to work this approach.
Dreadnought ready to go.
Start to, again, put these prongs in, put these forks in. They have a bit more breathing room, a bit more time this time to be able to go for a three-pronged approach, but even getting some blue pressure under the belt. Remember last time, it was very one-dimensional. They had to kind of go the classic of the stairs and moto hatch. This time, they have a lot more options.
Especially also looking at Valor, there's somebody playing instead of Garage. Sky is at least able to pick off Groovy, now falling back towards Oil Pit, towards it. Really good start. This is what I mean, right? Show a little bit of aggression, try to find somebody, try to go back to safety, though Blue wasn't safe anymore. You were able to retaliate 1-for-1, nothing too serious, but you've lost Groovy, you've lost that aggressive power. Nyko able to deal with Oscar, refrag happening though right after that. C4 blowing up, dealing with Kaya. Good stuff again, good usage of the util. Slight favor again for Valor. Jax attempt to be flashed there, but actually will be able to pull back further into its safety. Savage right now in the Memorial Hatch, trying to get in there. The crossfire is established, though he's able to deal with Frenchie, sitting on side. Could just call for help, could just call for Doom to get into that comfortable plant position, but they're not 100% certain that they want to pull this off as of right now. Jax is showing himself a tiny bit. Just have to be careful, though. It's Rekos dealing with Doom. Once again, 1v2. Savage against two players of Valor. Able to deal with Rekos. Again, aggressive positioning.
5 seconds
And now
remaining.
Savage is trying to stick that plant. Timer is taken away. And now he has to stick that plant. Will he be able to deal with him? That's going to be a big, big question. Yes, Jax is able to deal with Savage. And there you go. Once again, Valor slightly holding the round back together.
Disable the diffuser.
I'm going to need a heart rate read on Jax right now because he was convinced that plant was not going to be stuck and he went running away in the opposite direction. Only to realize, oh, that plant is actually being stuck. By the millisecond was able to get there just in time. Savage coming off, gets clapped down. And that diffuse can be stuck. But goodness me, again, that round was super, super scrappy on both sides. Super back and forth. The amount of information on both sides being constantly fed. And again, I really do think a big part of that is the fact that Secret were able to go for a collapse. They were able to be given that comfort. And even, you know, we saw the garage pressure coming through, right? And you know, pick was made. And then immediately taken out because Secret, they had that blue hatch. Because they were allowed that pressure from upstairs, they were, the breathing room rather from upstairs, they were allowed so much breathing room that they could get every single hatch open this time. And I think that was a slight oversight there from Valor.
And about this, I'm not too sure if the communication on the side of Valor wasn't too clear. Communicating through that, hey guys, the hatch is open. Or if it was just Skies trying to be like, okay, I gotta pick, I have to get back in safety. Ignore everything else, I'll run back.
Attackers are moving
Anyways,
out to locate a bomb and defuse.
the rest of the bunch was able to, like I said, hold it back, hold it together.
They're really doubling up on the ability to deny utility from the side of Secret right now. They've got the ADSs and they've got the magnets out, which again implies they don't want to deal with flashes when it comes to that late round. Potentially that they're worried about other bits of throwable utility as well, but Secret haven't really brought anything too spicy. And a really big thing here is that Doom has those Rotoro drones, which again, remember, you don't really have to worry about ADSs and magnets catching them because they can't. It is a drone. It will just sail on through, remove any kind of setup you've got behind there. The main factor here is that the mute jammers are on play, so that could be a slight issue. Savage hunting down now. This player with Basil Rifles getting tagged up significantly. Actually lands it. Is a tiniest bit of health. Is just going to have to try and waste some time here. The pinch is coming through from the side of Secret. Again, look at the approach from Oscar. Of course he's going to go for it. Goodness me. At least 1 minute and 10 wasted though, which is pretty good going. But again, a trade for trade. Got that opening pick. Could not get any more.
Once again, obviously now that Rykos is off the board, he's able to watch all those Val cams, still outside cams in play. Certainly Valor able to get some intel for themselves. Kayak able to open up the floor and therefore also the wall towards side. We still do see somebody playing around it. Though obviously it's really tricky to play down there if the floor is entirely open. Kayak able to collect the kill as well. Good stuff. Good progress as well from Team Secret, able to get certain points into their own hand. And that should have enabled almost the entire eastern side of the map to be played for Valor. Meaning the rest of the bunch has to go back towards side, has to go back towards safety. Only Frenchie, I think, right now is sitting underneath, potentially to vertically deny or even go for a flag. Frenchie able to deal with Joom. Good stuff. Again, tying the man count, tying this situation, bringing this back to an eye level. Ultimately will be, once again, Team Secret now having to fight into those comfortable positions held on the defensive half. We do have still very strong power position since the exterior breach hasn't been opened up. Kayak should be able to assist in order to get the exterior breach. Also, Groovy's getting into position. 3 prongs are waiting to get close, if not even on side right now, relatively soon. And a very aggressive situation might be around the corner. I'm hoping that Team Valor is aware. Flashbangs are coming in. Kayak out of the equation. Jax finds a second one, and Sky is ultimately able to deal with Groovy as well. Again, weaponry to deal with those players. Gun skill to deal with Team Secret. Valor able to pick up a 4th round under their belt as well. And again, it is obviously still kind of what we expect here on Clubhouse. Now, I'm still surprised to not see Team Secret fighting back harder from the beginning.
I mean, the main thing here is that Valor are really going rat style, which means that, you know, Secret are having to deal with that first. And there's been a few rounds like this now where, you know, Secret are aware, okay, they're bringing out the little ratty plays. Again, do I have to mention again that push from basement, the duo push, just to try and rattle a few feathers around lounge, you know, background perfectly. You know, we saw a massive potential of a time waste just by playing around oil pit. And again, that really could have ended up with more of Secret falling. It's just the fact that, you know, that Oscar is going to have the initiative. Oscar is going to take that fight, and he is going to deal with that player. The main thing there is, again, Secret, they were able to open up a lot of space and again, the breaches and the entry points in towards that site. It was just, again, just having that information as to where Valor was. They did have the mute jammer on the table, and nothing had dealt with that at that point, and that really hindered the information going into that collapse. Now that we're going to this final round of defense, however, again, you know, for Secret, they're not bringing... Oh!
Has been discovered.
That's unfortunate. He did. He certainly did. Groovy is going to fall. Hyper-aggression coming through from Valor now. Do you know what? Fair enough, because it's been working for them. They're able to rattle those jimmies from the get-go. However, Kayak is on that Monty. And again, we saw how well they utilized that last round. They were able to contest that pressure against Skies, and they were able to remove him from R2, and they were able to continue pushing up and go for that collapse. Will that happen again? Oscar gets one as Jax. That's certainly a good start. C4 off the board.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
Monty now repositioning as well. Just dropped the diffuser. Sheer breach opened up nice and smoothly as well. Now obviously, since you don't have the Zofia, what are you going to use to deal with those Kibas? And this will be tricky, as this limits the Monty from going up the staircase.
It's slightly awkward, isn't it, to just watch? Kayak's just like,
And there's no nades on it or anything. So I really think that for Kayak, it really is uncomfortable right now. The Gone 6 really comes in handy. Really has to work now, which
there we go.
Should enable, I was about to say, Kayak to get up and personal towards Guys. But obviously, Joom also lit up a fair bit. They really have to be careful to not let this slip away. Nyko able to deal with Joom as well. For the time being, the Monty is isolated.
It's only because there's no pressure coming from that garage doorway, so Skies is just kind of allowed to just jiggle around. It's a bit of an awkward standoff between these two right now. The attempt to go into construction. The pistol whip attempt by Kayak isn't going to really go in his favor right now. Frenchie is going to get taken out by Oscar, and again, Kayak, his health really falling down, is able to finally shut down Skies, but again, tiniest nubbin of health, and left kind of by himself, a 1 versus 1 now, as Oscar and Rykos are going to be left to try and juke this out. Nyko down. Potentially Rykos could attempt to pick him up, but remember, Nyko, yes, down, can feed information to his teammate. The fire is going to deal with him, though. Very clever work by Oscar using that firebolt to deal with that downed player. Could have potentially been just in case he was around the corner again. Those firebolts can be really useful at pulling people out of these choke points. Smoke getting caught by the magnet. Rykos playing so patiently, just not willing to give this position away. Bit of a spray and pray. Oscar is tagged up a little bit. He's going to try and stick that plant. A little bit of a reload. Rykos unaware that the corner, he could have had it if he just swung around the corner there. That is unfortunate, but there we go. He shuts him down.
On the diffuser. Attackers need to protect it.
Is able to stick that defuse. I thought Rykos was going to push through Cash there, and I was like, oh, all he has to do is just swing around that corner, you know, make his way for the rotate, waddle up to that doorway, and go for the swing. Whew. Very spicy stuff from both these sides. A 5-1-1 for Valor, though, and that certainly puts them in the power position once again. However, again, this is a very even Stevens playing field when it comes to Clubhouse and Secret. It's one of their best maps, realistically. It's one that they're really happy to go to. The main thing is here, Secret themselves, how aggressive will they be? Because realistically, they have to play it a little bit safe. They do have that round differential. They want to get a few rounds under their belt first. They don't want to be too spicy and make some mistakes and allow Valor to take that match point. So I am expecting a strong strategy here from the side of Secret. We have Doom there on the board zone. We got those magnets. We got a bit of mute jammer with the Kaid Electric Claw as well. That's going to really hold down those reinforcements and also go for a little bit of information denial.
We do see the IQ on the side of Valor, which does make total sense, especially since there is the opportunity to not only see a Valkyrie, but also see verticality in the way of C4s or other bits and pieces. But we do not see a Thatcher or a Maverick, so we do need to see that Valor has to be a little bit more creative to deal with the Kaid Electro Claws, which I'm going to look forward to, because that at times can be relatively tricky. Quick engagement here in towards the stock room. From here on, obviously, you get to cut off relatively nicely the rotate into that first floor. Sky is able to pick off his first frag in on attack. Savage not able to have any more keeper barriers thrown out into the map, which obviously is a little bit risky. I really hope that he had applied the best ones thus far. Obviously, the sound of the buggies enables Sneko right now to very silently get down the main staircase. We do obviously have sound alarms, which does still beg the question, where are they placed? Is there the potential that Team Secret is still able to get an understanding of Valor coming down the main staircase? Because right now it doesn't look like it. They're still focused about verticality. They're still focused about dealing, or at least understanding the verticality, at least with the buggies that can also be relatively tricky. Right now it looks like Valor is also repositioning towards Dirt Tunnel. Also a good entrance point if you ask me, because you just get another opportunity, another cross to the equation. Electro Claw from Kaid dealing with a set of X-Kairos. So Warhead should stay and remain closed.
More verticality coming through. Again, these nasty lines of sight towards that rush wall. Making sure no one can get a little bit bullish on the side of Secret. No one can go for that push towards the main stairs. However, need to be mindful, there is a player still deep in Moto.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
They could cause a kerfuffle as this approach begins to come through. Granted, you know, we do have the flashes in the pocket of Frenchie. But there are potentially magnets on the table. X-Kairos will start to work against the church wall. Potentially, they will be shot out. Kayak ready and waiting, goes for a shot, but whiffs again. Pick comes through, Sky Sneko and Jax will fall. Doom going large here alongside Groovy. Frenchie is able to deal with Groovy. It's now in a 1 versus 1. Wins it out. Valor able to secure that first round of attack. That was very scrappy there. Very dicey on both sides, may I add.
Absolutely. But match point, like you said, Team Secret not allowed to do any mistake. Unfortunately, they did do slight mistakes. Obviously, like you said, Valor also didn't play the beautiful list of all rounds.
It's just an unfortunate one, right? Because it's just, again, the slight unfortunate whiff from Moto. And yeah, immediate clapdown. Like Valor were coming through the trickle of kills. And at that point, it's kind of really shifts the momentum of how that collapse is going really into the favor of Valor. They needed that pressure from Moto to be a lot stronger. Again, I like the fact that it was patience to be like, okay, we're not going to try and shoot out those X-Kairos then. I'm going to have the surprise approach. And just so unfortunate to whiff the shot. Dangerous business indeed, but perfect 3-2-1 from Valor, to be honest.
But I really like the idea of him just sitting there and at first glance letting the X-Kairos do the destructive work, because he could have caught those players off guard if they were like, yeah, sure, there's nobody in, because he would or should have dealt with the util into that time. But ultimately, like you said, it's unfortunate stuff happening in that round. Let's just check this off. Potentially last round or the beginning of Team Secret's comeback.
Only time will tell.
Sorry?
Only time will tell, and this is the worrisome thing, right? Is that, you know, that first map being very, very close, went all the way to overtime on Nighthaven. And then, you know, we've gone to these even-Steven playing fields, and it's got, ironically, you would assume that these kind of spicier map picks would go a bit more one-sided, a bit more heavy towards one side. It's actually been the even-Stevens playing fields that seem to be getting the other side on the ropes, which is really, really interesting to see for me personally. I always expect your Clubhouse, your Oregon to be so close because everyone knows that at the back of the hand, but again, just because of the aggression and the security and that patience and the constant ebb and flow of how these teams are dipping between the two, and ultimately Valor having the upper hand with that, having more control over how they want to approach these rounds. It's really been interesting to witness.
Certainly so. Right now, Valor targeting the exterior walls, precisely the outside construction wall. We just saw Frenchie opening that up nice and swiftly. Really good stuff, because obviously this limits the opportunity for roamers to get back to sides through construction, but also it enables Valor to just, whenever they need, come inside of construction, potentially apply pressure from their inward side. Other than that, not too much control over other parts of the map. It really seems like they're trying to open up the Jacuzzi breach as well. Frenchie is rightfully doing so. There is a bandit, so potentially active bandit could be there, but Oscar actually decides to play active bandit inside of the bathroom to protect that mirror window. Also, obviously, justified that that is a very strong power position, and you just don't want to give that away to your opponent. Still, there's the opportunity, especially looking at Rykos, to have a breach around send and therefore deal with the mirror window, but there's still util on it, so there's still a little bit of protection, a little bit of a layer of protection. Savage, isolated inside of CCTV, could be a potential threat, and also somebody is still playing underneath, which I am keeping one of my two eyes on.
And what's your L5 see? Because again, I'm seeing a bit of a standoff. Well, they say a trade comes through. Savage will take out Nako, but Skies is out with the trade. 4 versus 4. Again, Valor, they have a fair bit of util, but it's not really going to do much when they're on this horizontal. Again, they could use the smokes just to cut off some lines of sight. They have to contest against 2 C4s, and fragging potential of, again, some of these secret players really feeding themselves. Granted, Secret backed against the wall here due to that round differential, are able to hold on. Skies is going to fall. Rykos trying to get stuck in, is going to deal with Kayak. Frenchie gets 1-0 to June. It creates space now on Cyber. Groovy trying to go massive, trying to hold it back, hold it down. Oscar as well, 1 onto Frenchie. A 1 versus 1. Rykos versus Oscar. Again, Rykos getting speedy with it, running around, potentially giving the game away. Goodness me! Flick of the wrist, spin around the corner, and Oscar's gonna fall. A dominance coming through from the side of Valor, and again, I'm just not expecting the last 2 maps to have gone the way they did. These Clubhouse, Oregon, to go to 7-2, 7-1. What am I witnessing? What am I witnessing?
Especially if you're considering, we were thinking, okay, map 2 was certainly already dominant and one-sided, and then we see a 7-1 from Valor. Woo. Crazy stuff. Again, chaos is unfolding, aggression is unfolding, Anne.
Yeah, 7-2, 7-1. What's next? I guess a 7-0 on our 4th map, potentially, from either teams.
It is border. It is border, and Valor have got a spicy border, Anne.
Yeah, but all these teams, you know, winning out their opponent's map pick also really shows that these two teams really, really spent their time preparing for the specific game and really reading into the mind of the enemy team on what kind of maps they're bringing out, what kind of power positions they're holding, and how they're generally going about with that map. This was a very, very solid start from Valor, and both teams really are turning it up a notch when it comes to the dominant map scores that we are seeing here, but you really see that Valor was very, very comfortable on this map, and a 7-1 victory more than deserved.
And the thing for me is also the fact that they've already started to bring out the rat plays, and I think that also indicates that, especially going into border, which again, French teams on border, always a dicey one. Valor in particular, it is their playing field. And it's also one of those maps where you can be hyper-aggressive. This could be dangerous now for Secret.
Especially if you consider they've just lost a map dominantly. And you could argue, okay, this is dealing with their mental, this is, you know, causing some issues. It's not. They even beat Team Secret on their own map even more dominantly, which really goes to show that Valor seems to be unbreakable. Even though they lose one map, really doesn't have to say much.
What I really think stood out to me as well was that the Valor players were all really carrying the logs and performing the similar ways, but in a good way. And on the side of Secret, it seemed like all these players were performing equally as well. Whereas previously, we saw some of these players really stand out. I mean,
Yes.
Doom, for example, on Nighthaven as well, not being able to perform the way he was or could do so on Clubhouse here. And now we do indeed have Border coming up for Valor. That might make it really, really scary for Secret. So we hope that they take these like 5 minutes to really get themselves back, and we'll see what happens on Border after a short break. so far during our South Breach Grand Final, the score seems to be getting more and more dominant, especially on that final map, a 7-1 for Valor. We have some stats to look over as well. See how things went down if these players really stepped up to what the score makes it so dominant. And having a look at this, what really stands out to you, Grace?
For me personally, it's the fact that you can lose 7-1 and Oscar and Kayak are still on a 75% cost, because again, really putting in the work as that backbone there for the side of Secret. And I think 9 times out of 10, they are the ones kind of, again, we saw this perfectly actually in that second map. They are that backbone that will be that last line of defense at times. And I think certainly that's at least something for them to be happy about, that they've really put pedal to the metal there to try and at least claw back some of these rounds for the side of Secret.
Also, if you consider that there's a difference between those two teams of 6 rounds, which there's the advantage for Valor, and then looking at the KD differential, it's only a slight KD differential. Most of the players are almost positive on the side of Team Secret, which is also really surprising, given the fact, like I said, that there's a 6 rounds difference. On the flip side, I also really wanted to highlight Rykos. I really think that he popped off today, as well as Frenchie, and I'm really happy for Frenchie, because I really think that sometimes he's standing in the shadow of the rest of the team, but especially here on Clubhouse, he really was able to shine.
Frenchie, the ex-Death Row GOAT.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal player, playing out of his mind right now. And again, Rykos, I think, especially on that last map, right, they were being spicy with it.
Yes.
We even saw these massive flanks come through, which caught Secret off guard. And I 100% am here for that. I hope we are going to see much of the same when it comes to Border, because Border, you know, it's that French playing field, and especially in the hands of Valor, starting on that attack, they can hit them hard, they can hit them aggressive, they can take the ball running and do some magic. The secret will be if Secret themselves can stop that aggression.
Sounds really promising for Valor, though. We can see if they can close it out on their own map pick, which is Border with Silver and Grace.
Border and Chaos. Which one will it be? Let's find out. Let's get stuck in. I cannot wait for this one. I am so hyped. I want to see if Secret are going to fight fire with fire here. However, most likely they might just play into that safety net to begin with. Again, being on that defense, also being on map point right now. They will want to be a little bit more cautious, especially given that they know fully well that this is one of Valor's best maps. However, maybe if you're Secret yourself, you are aware of this and you maybe cooked something in the last week on the off chance that you were going to be going against Valor on this Border. However, you know, Secret themselves, they've really struggled on Border, losing 3 times recently on this. Valor banning out that Monty. They were not having a good time with that on that last map.
I mean, it does make a lot of sense as well. Last time we saw this matchup, also, we did see a lot of Monty play. Solace off the board as well. Like you said, Valor really not trying to have Intel gameplay into the hands for Secret at all. It does make also perfect sense, especially due to the fact that Border is a very vertical map. At least it can be if you play it that way. Azami also does make a lot of sense. I would definitely say that the defensive bans limit the opportunities of the defense. Specifically, you're looking at Azami. It's a very aggressive map. It's a very compact map as well. And Azami was at least used for most of the teams out there to generate power positions, especially looking at CCTV, for example. And I really think that Team Secret getting rid of Azami is really a focus point for CCTV. They struggled last time significantly, and I'm really hoping that this is the opportunity for them to break the curse.
The main thing for me right now is the fact that, of course, Fenrir is in play, and I think Fenrir, when it comes to Border, is so impactful, especially during this season. We've seen the way that you can place those dread mines around break room, for example, and it gives an extra line of defense for the player playing around CCTV. Secret themselves have not brought that out right now, which is making me kind of, you know, scratch my chin a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, clearly you're cooking something here that doesn't involve this aggressive play, this aggressive safety net around CCTV. But if you do, what else will you bring here that's going to deal with, again, these aggressive entry points from Valor? We did see the Blackbeard be teased. It has actually gone on to this Zofia instead. Rather being brought to the track stingers. Could this be a little bit of a sandwich take being cooked yet again? Because again, we saw how the track stingers were utilized the last time. We saw how those smokes can go down in Rykos's hands. So I feel like that could be the play here. That could be the approach. So the Oscar battering down the hatches there towards the site. The Sky is obviously dealing with these castle reinforcements. It looks like Frenchie is actually on the southern side. So maybe we're going to see that sandwich take just yet. Maybe not even at all, which I think maybe a slight oversight from the side of Valor, or maybe they don't want to be giving away game too early. Ooh, the aggression coming now from Break Room. Ooh, that could have been spicy. Jim could potentially have gone for the run out there, and that could have been massive, but they are going to fall back a little bit, fall back to this Break Room. And again, look at this, a very powerful, snug little position. These tiny, tiny funnels that Valor have to work their way through. Kayak's going to get one before being traded out by Nako. That's a good start on both sides, really. No more track stingers for Frenchie to use as well. And there will be magnets already dotted about by Kayak. So again, I would argue that maybe benefits Secret a little bit more.
Especially also, if you look at the health bar, certainly is a slight favor for Team Secret. But nothing too serious. Obviously now, Valor's trying to get stuck inside of Office. There was a player, but he actually did drop down, so it's actually quite easy into the hands of them. And actually they're pushing on further towards side. A bit of a rotate being opened up from the back, and he retreats back.
What?
I'm not too sure if Team Secret is aware of that. At least it's a little bit of a trade going on. Joom able to take down Skies, Neko to take down Oscar, Rykos on the floor. Slight favor now this time around for Team Secret. Also, Groovy able to deal with Rykos. And again, Niko in that very dangerous positioning. Do mind giving away his position as well. Savage off the board though. User back up in the hand of Valor. They're still trying to make this work, but the positioning as well, really aggressive, but they're on site, especially looking at Jax. Rotate coming through as well. They should find it relatively comfortable to be able to sit on site now. Gumai, Niko has to be careful, only 1 HP left. And the cover certainly has to be there. Jax is in the right position, though he will fall to Joom, 1v2. Only the slightest of HP in Joom on the high ground. Able to deal with both of them. Team Secret, also Valor. Very crazy, chaotic start. But ultimately what we expected, I think.
I feel like I expected a little bit more from Valor there, though, because again, as soon as I saw the gridlock, the smokes and the Bravo, I was like, ooh, we're going to see it again, are we? We're going to see that sandwich collapse. Didn't happen, of course, but I really like the fact that Secret, yeah, they didn't bring the Fenrir out. They went for the kind of castle. Okay, let's just make this tiny little clubhouse, essentially, around the break room. Let's build this little box for us to play around. This very powerful position. The main thing there for the side of Valor is they tried to force the objective, but it was a kind of solo push with no timed second or third dimension to it. Then at the end, it looked like, okay, you've got that armory control. You just have to snuffle your way in. The goo ultimately kind of unraveled that plan from the get-go, right? The goo goes off. You've got to try and pull it out. You're then like, okay, I'll try and open up a bigger line of sight for you so we can both play around this. I think maybe just sticking the plant there instead would have been the favor as soon as that goo is ripped out, because at that point you're just essentially covering. And I think maybe going a bit deeper into the armory would have helped there too. Again, just they were trying to fight their way out of an awkward situation, because I really don't think the round went the way it was supposed to for Valor. I'm not really sure the approach they were trying to take there. Maybe it was a case of, okay, we'll just get a bit of east control, we'll work our way into Office and go from there. Maybe the whole plan from the get-go was to sneak the objective in, because again, Valor, 9 times out of 10 on their attacks, especially on this map, you know, they are going for these punchy approaches where they are like, okay, let's just immediately get stuck in. Let's just go for it. We'll find that gap. We'll try and exploit it. Secret were unexploitable this time.
Specifically looking at next round as well, which is going to be, as it seems, ventilation and workshop. We're seeing a cap can. And again, like you said, Valor trying to get stuck in relatively quickly, trying to capitalize on map control, trying to capitalize on intel. As obviously on border, it's a very compact map. You're able to find out about your opponent relatively quickly, relatively easily. A cap can could spice things up. So I'm really looking forward if they're sticking with this. Obviously, they still have the time to pick away, but at least it looks right now that they're teasing us a bit when it comes to that. ventilation and workshop, typically the mirror window could also hint at a potential bathroom hold, shower hold, or even be positioned up above. More than enough opportunities. Again, I really like that Team Secret is bringing the mute to the table quite often. Also, we did see them struggle droning in from east because there was a mute jammer position right next to the door. So potentially, it's really Team Secret trying to limit Valor's options, or at least the understanding of the defensive threat. So I guess we have to wait and see if that will reproduce, or if Valor is able to have different opportunities this time around to find intel. But obviously, we're about to get started again. First round under the belt for Team Secret. Thus far, nothing too crazy, nothing too serious. But again, showing or speaking from round number 1, aggression was certainly there from both teams.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Setting the welcome mat.
Air jabs coming out now instead of those track stingers. Again, the air jabs could be quite useful again, holding down these staircases. This is the main thing with Border sometimes, right? You've got 2 points of rotation if you're playing on verticality on the defense, and sometimes having those air jabs can be really useful at preventing those rotates, at preventing even maybe a flank. Double trap on the side of Secret. Curious business. Again, those pog mats will be placed under some windows. EDD's placed on the double into CCTV. That's a little bit spicy, because I will assume there is still going to be a player presence there. Of course, lots of information as well, though. Maybe they'll play that actually on the verticality, given there's mats there, given they've put a Valcam in. Maybe, we especially see Savage there below, so certainly so. I do think this could be a vertical hold for CCTV.
Better. Drones up on the ceiling. First glimpse inside of the building. Once again, we do see that mute jammer, which I've been referring to. Again, that does make it a little bit difficult, a little bit tricky to drone into east. And also that gives away at least the idea that Team Secret is playing around that, which we do see it's not 100% the case. Only one player underneath, potentially to try and play vertically. Though, as I say that, there's actually no verticality introduced this time around. As well, first mute jammer off the board, and like I said, first Valor has to get rid of those, then they can try and get the information into their hands, because droning is relatively tricky. Groovy playing into CCTV, can pull back, but also can ask for support from Savage whenever he wants to. Really good pressure point there from Valor, applying those X-Cows to have an eye towards CCTV. Again, really good understanding from Valor of what Team Secret is pulling off here.
I think it's also important for them to mind their manners somewhat as soon as they realize, okay, there's these pressure points being created. Maybe as we see a bit of this trap util. Naked getting an opening pick onto Oscar, certainly useful. And again, the call out will come through. Be careful of those frost mats. Careful of these corners. Sky's wanted to Savage as well. A great start, because again, they've seen the cap cam, they've seen the frost. Even if they haven't spotted out those traps, they will be a little bit more mindful as they start to approach the site now. Groovy still looking to play below. Wants to maybe get a C4 off, but also has to be careful as that pressure will start to come maybe down main, maybe into meeting as well. Kayak holding on to tellers. Could also be an additional point of contention here. He's going to try and sneak up. This could be huge. If he can try and catch it off angle, or even try and maybe go a little bit spicy, a little bit large on this east stairs. Looks like that is what he's trying. Actually gets shut down by Nako, though. This is looking certainly good for Valor. Groovy's going to fall too at 1 versus 5. The flawless denied, and Valor. Beautiful stuff there. Knew what they were going up against and just took their time with it. Were very patient. Again, this is something Valor do so well. It's such control, such ability to be able to know when and where you be aggressive and when and where you pull back to safety. We have seen it time and time again from them. It is a stoic approach to every map they play, and it is working so well thus far.
Especially looking at them playing Border, it really feels like a masterclass on how to play border in a beautiful way. Almost a flawless run. Like you said, it's just Doom sitting on side, able to like one for himself, but ultimately the pinch towards CCTV, the pressure application, it really shows that Valor has such a deep, strong understanding of how they want to apply pressure to certain areas. Obviously, right now, Team Secret is still trying to find a way to deal with that aggression, to deal with that knowledge. The mute jammers are certainly already working as it slows them down significantly. At least last round, though, it wasn't enough, which I think an approach could be for Team Secret to try and move around the map a bit more. Obviously, also that we do see from Valor addressed with Nomad being brought to the table and other util, but ultimately, I really think that Team Secret should try and enforce their own playstyle as much as they can. Looking at it, Doom potentially looking at maybe an engagement there towards Prison, but thus far, nothing too crazy going on, especially operator-wise. I was expecting the Bravo to be brought to the table as well. In conjunction, we do have Sophia, so a lot of opportunities to not only get control over util, but also deal with util. We're looking forward to seeing how this run will play out. Anyways, right now, good stuff here from Valor as we just saw the drones are coming in. There's util being pinged. Easters is being addressed as well. We do see the spots being right underneath, which obviously is going to be relatively easily addressable if you want to just, for example, vault in through the exterior window, which shouldn't be your main point of focus. You want to have verticality, you want to especially have the hatch in your control. Kayak dealing with the wall right now. Obviously, the second explosive is going to deal with it. Push comes in. Frenchie able to pick up one. Still Savage playing around that. There's a mirror window as well, so they're really trying to hold tight, hold down to it as long as they can. Really trying to get that control as long as they're possible into their own hands. We do see Valor outside the doors, knocking on the door. Hey guys, anyone there?
Get thrown out and then activated. This is really good util use from Savage. Just having that in pocket to be able to apply it where he sees fit as the round progresses. Nako, it's going to be taken out by Oscar.
Swapping mags.
It's going to bring us to a little bit of an impasse. 4 versus 4. Valor trying to find some pressure points. Raykos sneaking in now. Potentially going to push his way through customs. Could cause a kerfuffle. Depending if he wants to go direct, maybe deal with players below. But again, Valor, they still need to clear this top floor. They still need to get this pressure applied because Savage, again, is such a powerful position, especially if you are going to try and go for that eventual execute. He can just drop down and potentially deny it. So Valor, they have to get a jog on here. 30 seconds or so. They need to work out what they want to do, and they need to go for it quickly.
Beepers just gave away the position as well inside of customs. Jax able to find out about the player playing instead of showers. With just Doom, we do see that highlighted right now. Good, strong position. This guy's able to deal with Groovy. Doom falling, so many people falling. Only Savage, last man standing, 1v3. And they're trying to stick the plan. Rankos able to deal with him. And this was a really quick, really aggressive fashion. And again, it really seems like Valor is trying to show off against Team Secret. But right now, the rounds are stacking on their side. And again, that surprising amount of aggression, but at the same time, it's also a slow build-up towards that, which really, really is interesting to look at.
Certainly so. If Secret could try and hold on to some of these rounds a little bit firmer, though, that would certainly benefit them. As this time starts to progress as well. No timeout yet, which is quite interesting. I feel like Secret really saved that full match point. He was judging on how this series certainly has gone. Into the side of Valor. This is their playing field. I think Secret are fully aware of that. Secret are aware this is not going to be the most fun of times, but if they can at least try and get as many rounds on the board for the first half as possible, maybe they can bring out some Secret Swords. Granted, the Monty is banned out from Valor, and I think that really would have benefited Secret going into this map in particular. You know, we've seen them play really well with that Monty. We've seen them force the objective, certainly, multiple times. Now we're coming to the second half of Valor's attacking run. I am so surprised that they're, again, not going for any sneaky pocket strats here, that they're not trying to force anything too spicy. Maybe, you know, even an Osa, for example, would be quite nice to see that kind of archive Osa collapse if they want to force it. Bit of glass action, maybe. Bit of Ying action. They're being very kind of, again, bread and butter, I suppose, with the type of operator utility they want to bring, but it's down to the way that they approach this together as a team. They time their aggression. Their 3-2-1's on absolute lockdown.
Especially they also do bring the Sophia, and obviously Sophia didn't see too much light in the recent days, but especially if you play against so much utility. Raikos, opening frag, Doom. I mean, especially if you play against an aggressive team which is playing around util, which is playing around castle brackets as well, we really see Valor dealing with them really quickly early on in the round. Frenchie able to find Kayak, Savage off as well, and everything seems to be collapsing once again. The aggression, the pressure, the sheer amount of pressure from Valor's side is really, really building up. Groovy down as well, confirmed as well. Oscar, 1v5. Can he at least deny the flawless round, if not even secure the run for himself and the rest of the team? They don't have 100% of an understanding where he is, and the patience really seems to be working out. He found 1-2 as well, but Frenchie ultimately able to deal with him. And this patience could have been so massive. I'm really here for it.
This is why I love Oscar so much. For granted, you know, he lost that round, but it's the fact that he could have immediately reacted then and taken that gunfight. But he knew, okay, 2 have pushed deep into Armory. I can hear that diffuser go off. I know someone's on window. I'll deal with the window player. I'll deal with the diffuser. Unfortunately, he couldn't react quick enough to then deal with the players in Armory. But again, for the side of Secret, certainly a good stand-in to have for this season. We've seen multiple times Oscar really show his quality. For Valor, though, again, the fact that they're able to go for the divide and conquer approach so clean-cut, this is their playing field. This is the way that they are so enabled, because again, a team that are able to go for these duo pinches, they're able to have these crossfires. You can try and escape from them, but the moment you realize that push is coming, you know there's 2-3 different angles held towards you. Very difficult to contest, very difficult to get out of. Team Secret pulling this timeout now, I think that's a really, really good thing. Certainly being, I do think they're going to struggle a little bit on the attack themselves. You know, that Monty not being in play, maybe they themselves will bring out that Osa. I think they work really well when they can have a structured step-by-step approach. Take 1 quarter of the map, push further, next quarter, push further. You know, I think they have this very staggered approach that works well 9 times out of 10. It's just unfortunate that Valor, again, the way they're timing this aggression, the way they're timing these plays together as a team, it's been a consistent factor throughout this tournament. It's something they do so well, and you really have to be amazed by it.
Speaking about it, obviously soon the round swap will hit, and then Team Secret will have to attack, and Valor will have to defend. Thus far, it really swings in the favor of Valor, especially the drone phase and the first 30 seconds are relatively silent. And then, at least in the last 2 rounds, Valor is collapsing onto the isolated players of Team Secret. Obviously, with Border, yes, it is a compact map, but there's so many important points for you to hold onto, where I understand that they play isolated, relatively isolated. On the flip side, we just see Valor completely shutting down those players, completely shutting down even the slightest opportunity of team play, especially, or at least in those last 2 rounds. Really looking forward to see what that timeout will bring to the table. Sky is able to deal with Kayak again. I understand the aggression, but Valor seems so strong. I'm not too sure if that is the right measurement. Again, look at the yellow picks. They know exactly there is a player there.
And that's the main thing too. It's good for Secret to try and replace that pressure when it falls, but again, the intel gathering on the side of Valor is so clean cut. They absolutely have the number of Secret right now, and again, what they have to do is go through the motions. They have to just go through the clearance here.
Device in
get their timing on fleek. Once they clear that top floor, that ram is going to open things up nice and deliciously. Nako, however, will fall. That's he's one for Groovy.
Sending my drone out.
That's the entry shut down for now on the side of Valor, and that's going to give Secret a little bit of breathing space. Perhaps they can go for a little bit of a rejig. Again, Doom still has one of those red mines in pocket. Can go for a late placement. We do have some additional goos. Groovy, there we go. Once again, Skies will fall. Rykos will fall as well. Certainly stepping things up. Is finally traded by Frenchie, but has certainly caused a little bit of chaos on the side of Valor. A 2 versus 3 for them to now have to go up against. This is looking very good for Secret now. Very good indeed.
Reloading.
They can mostly fall back a little bit. They can be a bit more patient. They know the ram's off the board now. They know they don't have to worry too much about that verticality being used against them. They can hold on to site and just wait for this approach to come through.
It will come through. Right now, Valor is still deciding on what way they want to choose in order to make that final approach. Obviously, you are only 2 people, so you do have to potentially find a way to also play together. Verticality with the open window could certainly do the trick, but obviously you do have to be careful and mindful of a couple of different angles, as well as util. Right now, Jax is able to with the util. Niko able to get Savage with the Claymore. Again, the aggression. Jax able to with Oscar. Joom, last man standing. This turned around really quickly. Frenchie able to get the diffuser down as well. Post plant. 1v2 Joom. What can you do? Especially with Jax up above. Joom was able to find his way upstairs as well. Should have an idea that there is a player. But where exactly? Does he know? It doesn't seem like it. The movement is giving away the position. Jax finds Joom. And again, it's Valor making it work out of nothing. Out of thin air, they're pulling off those cards. Where are they coming from?
It's sad to see, but Secret really did a good job there of flipping the round on its head, and it was looking really good and strong for them, and then they've run out into the Claymore. Unfortunate business indeed. Again, can we talk about how Groovy, absolutely went massive there, whittling down the side of Valor. He created that advantageous position. They were not able to deal with him for a very long time. I mean, it just falls away by, again, there's this slight mistake. At that point, you know, you have the player advantage. Just play passive. You don't have to be leaping out of windows. You don't have to bring the thunder. You don't have to go for the aggression.
I do have to disagree.
Go on.
yourself quote quite well. Desperate situations call for desperate needs. Desperate needs call for desperate measures.
But they weren't desperate. They were like they had the player advantage, right?
You're looking at the 3-1. I think you at least can feel it quite desperate, especially also the timeout. I understand that you are trying to get your aggression back. You're trying to get your momentum back. I respect the attempt, but we also have to see that you completely fell for it. You completely ran into the trap. Where props again to Valor for prepping that run out to be covered. And it's again those mind games, which I do think, yes, Team Secret shouldn't have done that run out. You could have just played with a team stick, tried to deny the plan, but on the flip side, Valor knew what they need to expect, and it's the prep for today, especially Niko again dealing with Savage. Savage, unfortunately, I'm really sorry, but he's really struggling on map. What is it now? 4?
4.
Lost track.
And that's kind of spicy, given that is the Warden off the table, and Valor have so many flashes in their pockets. Sky is dealt with. That's at least the sledge removed from play.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
No chances of that sledgehammer causing some nasty lines of sight to be capitalized with aggression, ferociousness. Speaking of aggression, there we go. Joom, the run out. Actually paying off this time for the side of Secret. Frenchie is dealt with. No claymores there to hold back that approach. That's going to cause a little bit of a standstill with Valor. They need to make sure, okay, well, maybe we go back to the drawing board here. Maybe we think of a new plan. We get to fuse and work out a new approach here. Maybe we go a bit more direct again. Looks like that's what they might end up doing. Jack's kind of getting in position here. Joom taking out Rykos. Nako will fall as well. Jack's left in a 1 versus 4. He's able to deal with Kayak. Poor Kayak keeps getting caught out on this map. Does have the audio cue. No, someone is lurking. around this archive side. But again, the goo will give the game away. Someone should swing around the corner now, I would assume. Maybe not. Maybe patience is a virtue this time. The C4 going out was ripped. The Zoto is going to hold it back just for now. Jax, what can he do? Approaching from a different angle now, pushing into offices. There goes that C4. Doom ready and waiting to try and bring the thunder. The wall bang, gorgeous stuff there. Jax, goodness me. 1 versus 2, again, divide and conquer. That's at least one of these players dealt with. And if he can try and isolate these remaining 2 players, this could be a very good indeed. Caused a little bit of a ruckus. Causing some pressure towards Metal. Has gone for a rotate here onto Army Wall, but is giving his position away once again. So, Secret right now, they have to try and stack up and maybe play around this duo just in case. Looks like they are kind of doing that somewhat. Definitely can play around that trade if Jax is feeling himself a little bit today. If he is able to land this initial kill, there we go. There's one. Can he get the second? Yes, he can!
What?
Goodness me, Jax! His reaction in chat says it all. He was not expecting himself to get that one. Wow. 5-1 split. The clutch from Jax coming through. And again, the humbleness from Kayak in chat. Well played.
Absolutely.
Well played indeed.
My apple pie. 5-1 round swap. I think I've seen this already today again. Looking at it, it's the individual skill, but Joom really went all out this round. Unfortunately, him pulling off a 4K wasn't enough. And it really hurts saying that.
It's not looking good, Chief. The secret anyway, for Valor, it's looking incredible. You are in such a powerful position. Again, Valor's playing field, they're on that defensive half that they have so much fun with. The way that they can play around each other on this defense is mwah, chef's kiss. These cross angles, these setups. They got Jax there on the Warden. They got Nako on the Oryx, which is a little bit spicy. Wondering where he's going to be looking about. He is going to be around CCTV. Hatch will be open as well, so you could always fall back and reappear at a later date. But for Secret right now, they need to put their thinking caps on, right? They need to be thinking right now, what are we going to do? Because they're going to be swinging around every corner, every angle. They're going to be throwing themselves here, there, and everywhere, out this window, over this half wall, etc., etc. Rightfully so, they are bringing the Nomad with those air jabs. Rightfully so, they are bringing that gridlock with those trap stingers. Because absolutely you are. You know, you want to be safety first here. You want to make sure no runouts, no silly shenanigans. Even the Claymores found Kayak. Of course, those Grim Bees will be very useful at gaining information and preventing aggressive pushes too. Safety first really is the name of the game right now for Secret.
100%. First approach is for Team Secret to knife away the castle barricade. Obviously, it's also a way to deal with them. Run out, I think, dealt with. I think that was, no, actually was on site. Good stuff, Joom there, making the drone work. Really pay off. Kayak did take a lot of damage as well, so the rest of the stack has to be careful to not risk him or have him risk too much. Bring him into a position where he has to. For the time being, it's still Naiku inside of CCTV. We do have a lot of util. Joom is dealt with. This could be a really good starting point for Valor, especially looking at Naiku. He's still in CCTV. He's holding tight to it. He's really trying to deny whatever push is coming around. Savage gives away the position. Flashbang is in. No flashed himself, unfortunately. Still, there's teammates helping him. Raiko's able to deal with Kayak. And again, the teamwork from Valor really paying off right now. Really strong. Raiko's especially also found one for himself as well, just to be traded right after. And Savage is still stuck outside the CCTV window. The mirror window still pressuring him even further. What a tough situation.
Certainly is. Savage has to try and make something work. Has to try and alleviate some pressure. Oscar getting tagged up. That's not great. Has to try and find those pixels. Has to try and find those heads. Right now, Valor backing off a little bit. They know they're in this powerful position. Well, as I say that, Nako getting very dicey with it. Going for this half wall elevated pressure. Nako rightfully so is going to fall back now, drop down, get to safety. Oscar gets one on Skies, that's good. Let's open up some breathing space. There's a second one onto Frenchie as well. Nako aware of Oscar's position, but is he aware of the repositioning? Both these players stacking up together. Now Oscar holding this angle. Savage trying to bait the plant. But they're just trying to go for a bit of the old bait and swing.
Tracks released!
Oscar sending out more track stingers. This is very good from the side of Secret.
Attackers are activating the
These two very fraggy individuals being able to at least get that plant down. Holding now for that post-EP. Oscar taken out Nako with the wall bang and the spray and pray around the corner. Just has to find Savage now, rather. Knows exactly where he is, but dodging and diving around that sandwich wall. And there we have it. Savage will take him out. Good stuff indeed. That's at least Secret holding on a little bit longer, a little bit more. Can they keep it up, though? Can they keep pushing that to a 5-5 split? Because, again, the pressure certainly is on. And as we've just seen, Valor, they really love to have a good time on this border defense.
Absolutely. I mean, it is one of the best representatives of the French scene, or the aggression which can be brought to the table from predominantly French teams. It is just crazy to see what confidence is currently showing.
Speaking of confidence, again, this really, and at this point in time, I hate talking about Oscar because I just feel like I sound like the biggest #1 fan forever and ever and ever. But genuinely, those kind of plays between Savage and Oscar, like Savage, Portuguese GOAT, absolutely phenomenal player, absolutely insane. I absolutely love Savage, and I really think that he is so capable, but even more capable of pushing even further still. Now, you combine a little, clutch situation with those two players. Oscar on the tiniest bit of health, taking these passive holds where he can get these little pixel angles but not overexpose himself until Savage gets into position with him. And then they played so well together, so well, getting that plant down, forcing the post plant, even while they were getting the plant down, even trying to bait it in the first place, and using the utility they had in pocket, thinking about every single possibility. The focus, the flow state in those moments, it's got to be crisp.
Crisp indeed. Taking a look on Team Secret's attack approach. Again, I really like to see the Nomad. This time around, we don't see the Gridlock, though we do see Doom on the Dokkaebi. Again, everything that Dokkaebi is a really strong pick, especially to get an understanding of how Valor is playing. Top that off with especially the IQ. And again, it's Valkyrie playable. I really think bringing IQ to the table does make a lot of sense, especially if you do see her in the prep phase, that she's setting up a couple of cams, or even just her being there. It just does make a lot of sense. Raikos trying to play aggressive from the very beginning. Savage able to do with Jax. This time around a different start for Team Secret, which is really good already. Phones are ringing. Because also, as the exterior Casper gate has been dealt with, needs to be careful. Kayak stepping into a gives away the position slightly. But nothing too crazy, because obviously the walls have been reinforced, which is his main target.
He's just holding to see if this fall back down east happens, but it's not. Why would Raikos bother pulling back right now? No one's contesting too hardly. Well, speaking of which, almost ironic, Kayakman swinging around the corner, taking him out. Savage gets one onto Nako as well. This is looking very good for Secret right now. Clap back from Frenchie. But again, a 2 versus 4, and Secret have so much time to just chill and get into position. For Valor right now, they're thinking, okay, maybe they'll be aggressive. Yes, it will. Ruby catching them off guard, but Skies is there with the trade. And there we have it, Oscar to finish things off. Secret, another round on the board. This is going the polar opposite, I must confess, to how I thought it was going to go. Secret not giving up about a fight right now, really scrapping back, and rightfully so. Valor are going to call that timeout, but Secret to then be able to pull it back to the point that it is right now, very good indeed. Can they grasp hold of 2 more rounds? Because these attacks are so clean cut. They're really starting to read Valor so well as well. Again, just being mindful. Oh, yes, maybe they fall back, but would they really? No, they're going to go aggressive. Let's catch them off guard. Let's predict that aggression. Oh, look. They're here. We can deal with them. We'll shut them down. Excellent reads by Secret.
2 rounds is all it takes for Valor to be crowned the South 3 champion. It's almost already in reach for them.
But 2 more rounds for Secret to also equalize.
I was about to say, but for Team Secret, things are getting really spicy, as obviously they're pulling it back further and further, and most importantly, they're denying that potential match point. I really think that this is really important to not break the mentality, not break the momentum. The timeout now, again, really justified after looking back at those last rounds. Like I said, the prediction right now does make so much sense from Team Secret, especially as Valor is trying to pull off more or less, not necessarily the same thing, but the same playstyle. Take a look again, Army Lockers as well as Archives. Will they finally be able to hit match point?
Also, kit being brought out yet again by Secret. They've made good work of bringing all the kit they have, and they've made it be very resourceful as well. You know, Clark bringing out that Capital now. Not only is that going to cut off some lines of sight in terms of smokes, things like that, the firebolts have been certainly useful, especially, I'm just thinking back on Oregon, you know, that there were times where Secret were able to get the upper hand just by pressuring Valor using those firebolts.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
Again, that is something I expect to continue as we go through this round. However, Jack's on the Warden. Those Dread Mines are still on Nako as well.
Valor really has to be careful. It really looks like they're still worried about the setup right now. And looking at the roster, at least the operator picks, look at that. The mirror window is still in setup. Now it should have been dealt with already. And look at Niko, he just went for a little bit of a peek there. But the really big problem is that Secret has so much aggressive power due to the lineup that they can really increase the tempo, really increase the speed whenever they want to, which is a massive factor. We do hear not only the phones ringing E1D, but also so much util going to fly out. Savage dealt with from Skies, though a little bit of a team kill, unfortunate stuff there, though it's just a help which is supposed to be there. Groovy able to deal with Jax. Slight advantage as also Niko's brought to the floor. It really feels like it. The Team Secret is trying to pull this back all the way into their favor. Sky's able to retaliate onto Joom. A little bit of rotate coming through. The rest of Team Secret is supposedly coming around the corner. Groovy trying to stick the plant. There's still cover. Those guys is there able to pick up his third one. Groovy's dealt with as well. This is not yet a post plant, and it will not be, as Skies is able to take down Oscar as well. Match point for Team Valor.
Incredible stuff at the end there. It really looked like Secret had it, to be honest. Secret had so much control, so much power, and then it just all fell apart. That was incredible stuff. Again, just very much at the end there. The rotate back into CCTV, shut down the player that's trying to cut in there. The immediate rotate back. Because again, this looked so good. Obviously, the team kill really did enable Secret a little bit. They were able to get stuck and go for that collapse. And again, it was just a case of Rykos just getting stuck into that half wall.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Causing a kerfuffle, shutting down that cover. Then Oscar's left on his wands. No information to really work off, given at that point Valor had up the ante and constantly flipping, reversing, changing their position. Good stuff indeed.
But the progress is not supposed to stop here, as obviously Valor wants to not only win one, but also a second round. Only then they will be crowned the champion. In Secret, I really think the last round was also swinging in their favor. If that entire chaotic situation didn't unfold around Rykos, Jax, as well as Skies. But Team Secret is certainly finding the right approach, and I'm really not too sure if Valor is already able to close this off, or if we potentially still might go to overtime. Definitely Team Secret is in a position where they can still pull this all the way. Skies falling as the opening frag. This time round, Joom able to collect it. And again, it seems like those two are having a fight. Either it's Skies winning or it's Joom winning.
Again, the readability of each other at that point. The fact that, you know, you're able to start to predict one another a little bit more, and it's going to start getting dicey because of that. This is where we might fall back into the utility, really. on both sides, and we're already seeing this. Groovy is able to deal with that mute jammer, so these drones can come through and start to gain more information. Doom, there we go, triple kill already. This is looking phenomenal. Surely they can hold on to this. Surely we're not going to see another upset round. Nako, one there onto Savage. Kayak has been picked up though. Rakos, beautiful shot there. The elevated angle onto Doom. Goodness me, Valor. This is what I'm talking about. How do they keep doing it? 3 versus 2. And again, a lot of time for Secret to try and work with. But Valor constantly repositioning, constantly mixing it up, constantly changing what angles they're holding, what approaches they're taking. Nako can always pop his way up this hatch if he needs to too. They're just waiting for a little bit more information. Those Candelas are going to give a little bit of an audio cue, as will that Prox, potentially. Secret looking to approach slowly but surely. Again, they need that information, really. They need those drones to come through for them best they possibly can. Groovy getting caught out a little bit there. Try and create a little rotation into Armory now. If Nako does try and go for that hatch, it could be quite spicy. However, he's aware this verticality is now coming through. He's aware he has to jog around, dance around, try and avoid the bullets of Groovy. Is going to safely duck out. Could potentially, yes, he is. Meerkat mode through the hatch of CCTV. Lands one onto Oscar. Equalized to a 2v2 now. The Candelas are ringing through. Kayak going for a spray and pray is tagged out a little bit by the Toxic Babes. The tiniest nubbin of health. Groovy does take out Rykos. Nako, it's all left down to you. Could this be it, or can Secret hold on?
5 seconds left.
Nako is holding, looking, knows what that player is. Groovy is there. Secret still holding on. But goodness me, Valor are not making it easy right now.
My, oh my, that individual performance, that decision-making of Valor really paying off. Though ultimately, it's again Team Secret getting not only the opening frags, but also Doom ripping an entire hole into the strat of Valor. And only due to that clutch situation was needed. And that is the big question, Valor. Why is it always a clutch that is needed to save you the round? It really seems like you're risking a bit too much up front, or at least are opening a little bit of too much of an opportunity to your opponent. And Secret certainly will make use of that. 2 rounds to go to overtime. This isn't over yet.
It's not over yet, indeed. And again, this is really, really, you know, we said this was going to be an interesting match to see again, given its Valor's playing field. I think Secret have done such a good job at fighting fire with fire, but there are so many times where Valor are in these almost impossible situations, and they just start collecting these kills out of nowhere. Elevated little pixel spots, the Meerkat mode up CC to deal with the player in Fountain. Of course, a little bit cheeky, a little bit naughty. Speaking of cheekiness and naughtiness, Kayak bringing the Blitz out. This could be very interesting. Where is that going to be? Where is that going to contest from the get-go? Of course, we do have the Capital there and the Brava. Secret made very quick work of dealing with those mute jammers. And once again, we're going to see it yet again. The mute jammers dealt with. That's going to feed more information to the hands of Secret. That's going to need to be on point, especially with how much Valor move.
Really good point. Goo mines are also there to diminish the opportunities of movement. Again, the Blitz shouldn't be an info that this has been brought to the table, which is public or known to Valor. Especially the rather safe way, the rather slow approach right now. Kind of begs the question that they're still saving up the Blitz. Obviously, the Blitz is a good measurement to deal with CCTV, which is the case. Kayak able to momentarily deal with that. The player is able to rotate back. Skies takes him down. And not having a Blitz anymore definitely hurts. Oscar at least able to retaliate onto Skies himself. 1 for 1.
1 for 1, but again, for the side of Secret, very limited drones left. Again, they've had to throw out their final one just to try and work out a little bit more information, a little bit more intel, a little bit more safety net. Again, this is Valor they're playing against, and information is key against them. I'm sorry, but it's so true, and that looked so promising at the start for Secret, but now I'm worried. 2 drones left, presumably flank drones as well. So this is dicey. It could be a little bit of the old face-checking shenanigans. Secret, they do have to try and make it work, though. Again, potentially could just try and rely on this utility that they have in their pockets. We do have some flashes in the pockets of Oscar. Savage is on the Grim as well, so those Bs could be absolutely massive to try and give a little bit of information. Even if you're just using it to like cover up a specific position so you can get in place. Speaking of place, lovely little line of sight being attempted there. Unfortunately, no cigar.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Frenchie waiting, shotgun in hand. Oscar is going to take out Nako. That's a good start. Creating some breathing space, and here we go. The firebolt's going out just to hold back some pressure, holding back some of that aggression on the side of Valor. Valor retaliating with, once again, these repositions. The bees flying everywhere. Savage is going to take out Frenchie and start to stick that plant, and this could be massive, especially now Jax has dealt with Rakos in a 1 versus 4. Trying to find the heads of these Secret players. Gets one down to Doom as he's downed. But there we have it. Savage securing that final kill and still keeping Secret in it to win it.
This is getting really, really close. Potential of an overtime just around the corner. And thus far, Valor is really struggling to keep up with that aggressive power of Team Secret. Thinking back, the Blitz was a really good attempt, especially also then trying to shoot downwards the hedge. Potentially a little bit too aggressive, given that he also has been punished, but there was a retaliation right after as well. The verticality really worked it out for Team Secret. It really, really did do the magic. Ultimately, also the plant position, again, we've seen 2 plants back-to-back. Objective-based gameplay is really what Team Secret is trying to stick to, and it's exactly working out the way it's intended to. But this time, at least, might have been picked away again, though we are getting an Osa teased, which I really think is interesting. Specifically looking back at this plant and run playstyle, it is Armory and Archives. You can easily put in an Osa shield, Yinkadella's in, and plant. You just need to bait out the util. You just need to get the right position in and the right timing. But that is definitely possible. It really comes down to what can Valor change? How can they now keep up with Team Secret?
Just because, like, potentially, you know, maybe if you do decide to go for Tyler's plant, yes, you've got a shield and Midori to cover the plant eventually. You can always put one of those shields on the window as well. Someone upside down repels and just holds that angle, holds off that approach from Fountain, even from Armory itself. Seagull once again getting stuck in with these clutch drones to deal with the utility setup around that break room. So they've come to a bit of an impasse, as I don't think they were expecting Casper Arcade to be there. And that's going to allow for a Talon to go out nice and early to help them contest this eastern spot, this eastern hold that Valor have. Lots of information falling into the hands of Secret right now. And again, they just have to play it very smart. Information is king. 9 times out of 10. And certainly with a team like Valor, who are going to be constantly repositioning, constantly changing up what they're doing.
Again, Kaya trying to find anyone. Naiku falling. Favorable situation for Team Secret. And it's still Valor trying to get a little of a freebie here and there, but Team Secret's not gifting anything away. Yinkadella will punish Rikers even further back towards safety. We do see Jax with the glasses on right now, potentially fighting back against that aggressive Ying. Kayak takes a little bit of damage. Again, it's Rikers. He's really trying to make this work. Really trying to fight those players, those guys as punished. As Savage takes him down, Rikers finds Kayak. And everything could swing both directions really soon. Though Team Secret has to make that move. They have to make the engagement. At least they've gotten control over the break, CCTV, all of that in their hands.
Again, they still have so much pressure as well because right now CCTV is being held from Fountain. You've got the mirror window on the Armory Breach as well, which again, very, very impactful, very difficult to try and deal with. They are aware of Doom here on Sandwich Window. C4 did miss. Doom, rightfully so, is worried. He's like, oh, is the run out gonna come? But nobody is there. Jax isn't gonna try it. And this is a lot of patience on the side of Valor, to be honest, because again, ooh, there we have it. Doom, his patience has paid off for him at least. Jack's impatience being punished. Frenchy's gonna fall down, right? Goss gets one onto Doom, and there we have it. We're going to overtime. Goodness me. Secret absolutely fighting tooth and nail right now. They are able to bring it all the way back from a 5-1 to that 6-6 position. Gorgeous stuff from them.
If you're thinking, hey, why is Border attacker sided, statistically speaking? Just look at this match. Both teams were able to pull 5 out of 6 rounds and successfully win them on attack, whereas only win 1 defense successfully. It really shows that, obviously, it really comes down to the team making use of that advantage, but technically speaking, the map allows you to play more aggressive also on the attacker side. Looking at it, Team Secret on attack again. We did see this earlier already, that Valor, when it really was down to when they really needed to change up, they were able to do it, and they have to do it now. Otherwise, Team Secret could reward themselves again with a potential match point. On the flip side, for Team Secret, if they're able to just reproduce the successful stuff which they've been doing the last 3 rounds back to back, they could be looking at a little bit more of like a smooth sailing. But I'm really, really certain that Team Valor will not make it easy for them.
5 seconds to go.
Once again, bringing a lot of kit. The OSA being brought yet again. They make decent work of that. Again, it's just having that additional safety net, right? To give yourself a nice line of sight, an aggressive line of sight to work around, and that safety net to not be immediately taken out. And I really want to know how they're going to play this. We see Doom, once again, potentially could go for the office take or even play around Sandwich, throw some bees out as the timer ticks on. No one's like Secret want to get Eastern control nice and swiftly. Yet again, there we go. First Castle Barricade dealt with. Also got those turret drones too, can clear out a lot of utility. Especially when it comes to these castle barricades. But Secret do have these soft breaches still, and again, that's going to be really useful. It means you can save those Rotoras for later. It means you can save those Rotoras to potentially put an additional bit of pressure on these defenders. Pull them out of those hiding spots. Especially if you've got a nice line of sight lined up. Sky's getting a bit scrappy now. He's aware there's players trying to contest into this office, and rightfully so. Valor, they're going to stick these duos. It's quite interesting. They're pushing up to help one another now, Silver.
Rightfully so. Still 10 people up and living. Thus far, nobody was able to pick up an opening frag. It really shows that both sides are not trying to make a single mistake. We're trying to play it slow, but together with the team, coordinate, a push together, try to move together, think together, and act together. Office towards side, towards Archives is already open. Kayak getting the shield in position. The bees are limiting the rotation opportunities. C4 goes flying, not landing. Sky is able to deal with Groovy. Really good stuff, though. It will be a post plan as Kayak was successfully able to stick that defusal. And there's also still people coming in from the back, really making it tough to deal with this entire situation. Oscar takes down Rykos. A little bit of a punishment from behind. Thank you, and Sky is fine too. Oscar, just before it was able to pick up one more on top. 3v2, very safe positioning, though Kayak falls! Doom, last man standing, he has to stay alive, and he won't! It's Valor to finally be able to take, again, a defense into their own hands. And again, they are the ones sitting on match point.
That was incredible because it didn't. For a second there, it looked like Valor didn't actually know where that plant was. It looked like they thought it was Armory, and they were like, "Oh goodness me! I guess it's immediately from the Armory breach. How have we had this oversight here?" And they were trying to contest it, and then they were like, "Oh no, actually, we see what they've done. They've brought that OSA realness, and that's what I like to see from Secret, but even more so Valor being able to clap back finally, and again finally getting a defensive round back in their favor. Obviously having a better time on the attack, and this is the round we're going into now, their attacking round that they were very dominant on, a 5-1 attacking split there. The Nook, I'm wondering if that is going to be stuck. And Secret crapping back with some spice himself. The Tubero being brought out by Doom could be quite an interesting one. Again, shutting down potentially the utility of Valor. Because yes, they've got the X-Kairos there. I'm wondering what they're cooking with some secondaries as well. Already got the Candelas on the Ying too, the Dokkaebi for that added information, and we've seen yet again, Valor with the way they play around that information, the way they're able to react quickly, reposition, play together. Nice kit to bring to the table. Secret, they need to hold on. They need to push to that 7-7. They fought so well. Incredible stuff on them. They can't let it fall away now.
Ratty plays are being brought to the table as well. Looking at Oscar, he's just waiting for anybody, though. He will be punished. The aggressive early engagement dealt with. And this is a huge starting point for Valor. It really seems like those tides are stacking up, and a big tsunami is about to hit Team Secret. But obviously, still more progress to be made, more map control to be gained, more pressure to be generated as well. And Team Secret really has to hold down to it. Really has to be able to win a couple of gunfights, potentially as well. Right now, we do see Kayak with an addition of a player in CCTV, which is Groovy, trying to hold Break and CCTV as long as they can. There's also players lined up from Valor, indicating that they want to get the control of that. Phones are ringing. Nobody immediately trying to capitalize on that for the time being. Doom holding the backside window right now. Smokes are coming through. Kayak able to take down Raikos. E1Ds are coming through as well.
That's rolling out, but no collapse to follow. Doom is flash, but it's not really going to put him into too much of a precarious position. Kayak's going to fall down, but Frenchie is immediately traded by Savage. Jax has been downed, looking very promising for Secret right now, but we've seen how this can go. We've seen how Valor can be backed against a wall and still scrap their way out. Savage getting tagged up significantly there. The Skies is looking to continue to contest. The nade will go out, potentially trying to get that line of sight, trying to get that angle. Savage trying to get this pick under his belt, is aware of the player coming in for the pinch, is able to scrap his way out of that one. Nako will fall. And Sky's now left in 1 versus 3. Again, Secret, don't think they're gonna give too much breathing space here. Sky's tiniest bit of health dealt with by Savage. And goodness me, considering that opening pick, oof. Secret able to pull us all the way to the very, very end. This is it. Only one of these teams can win it now. I mean, that was always the case. But Valor, if they win this, have won the series. Secret, if they win this, are pulling us to that final map. And this is so important for Secret right now because they want to be able to not go down without a fight again. That was a really good round from them.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Both teams showed us tight rounds, dominant maps, less dominant maps. But right now, everything is on the line. They're fighting for dear life, it seems. Justified.
But again, like Secret, especially towards the end there, we saw, you know, the rotation to East stairs. And it's this idea that, you know, Valor, they play really well when it comes to these pinches, but Secret were able to scrap their way out of it.
10 seconds.
It really is incredible stuff. And again, the quality of both these rosters, so high. I don't think that, again, there's going to be any disrespect on either side, regardless of how this goes. I think both teams will take the hat off.
100%. I mean, in the end, we will crown one champion and one champion only, but still, those two teams performed insanely well, not only today, but over the course of the last couple of weeks in the qualifiers, and even before that. I'm really happy to see those two fight it in such a way. It really will come down to, at least for now, this round, potentially also to just one more map. But let's take a look what Team Secret is cooking there. Again, a lot of intel, a lot of opportunities to get intel. We just saw the Brava clutch drone driving throughout the map, collecting util from the defense and just making it swap sides. I think one just has been dealt with, which is quite good already for Valor, but we do have to say that Team Secret is really making most use out of the util they bring to the table. And they're still really aggressive operators on the board. Looking at the Dokkaebi, looking at Kayak on that Ying as well. Really, it seems like they're cooking. It seems like they want to get aggressive. They want to get stuck in once the proper call-out is coming through. But for the time being, obviously, again, it's the first map control bits and pieces which they want to get. It's potentially also verticality. Frenchie wants to get up close and personal. Ooh, Kayak! Trying to toss in those Cadenas. Oscar into the flank position, looking away the timing! Skies picks off Oscar. Really good starting point. Ace off the board. Neku trying to help his teammates as well, but those 1 minute 15 will tell which direction to go.
Time is ticking on. Sky's in a very powerful position, holding down that CCTV from a really long line of sight. And again, Valor just trying to keep hold of things. Frenchie's gonna fall. And Secret follow it up. Valor really backed against the corner here. Trying to hold these powerful positions. The expected drop down to that main entrance is not quite coming through yet. Jax might have to go for a reposition if that doesn't occur. There we go, Jax dealt with. Massive for Secret right now. All they have to do is find an entryway into this site. Try and get that plant down. Nako deals with Savage. Goes for a reposition. Again, drop down into the site. It looks like Secret are going to try and contest it, are going to try and stick this plant. Ruby has been downed. Doom has to be the one keeping that cover there. It's all going horribly wrong. And there we have it. Valor sailing through and securing this best of 5. Wow. Incredible stuff there. And finally, in these regionals, the South Breach champion is indeed a T2 team. And that is a first for the regionals thus far, and certainly, I mean, incredible stuff.